right. So it's Tuesday again. Sports Empire Network. That means it's Big Three podcast time. I'm Kyle Edwards, of course. Got my boys Jordan and Dylan. What's up, guys? How you guys doing?
What up? What up? What's going on? Oh, I think Dylan, I think you're muted, man.
Yeah, I was trying to turn it on beforehand, and then we went live, and I was like clicking it, and I was like, I don't think it's on. I don't think it's on. And then I just looked over in my corner, and I was like, oh yeah, the light's not on. But doing good, doing good.
All right. Of course, got plenty to talk about. Once again, got a lot of stuff going on in the MLB. Got a lot to talk about with NBA, and then of course NFL, because NFL's king around these parts. So, I guess we could just start with the MLB. Have you guys been watching the playoffs? I mean, we've been talking group chat, so I know you guys have been paying attention.
Yeah, right.
I mean,
yeah,
I was
right.
about to say.
Come on,
Okay.
No.
I was gonna say, yeah. I mean, of course, I watched the Blue Jays game. I'm a big Blue Jays fan. I've watched the Blue Jays series, and then I ended up watching the Guardians and the Rays, and then I watched the last two games of the Padres and the Mets. I didn't watch any bit of the Phillies and the Cardinals. I tried, but I ended up just having stuff to do. Yeah, pretty upset about that Blue Jays series. Really close to taking it to a game 3. I was pretty upset about it. Man. The Seattle Mariners pitching just killed us that first game. Luis Castillo was doing really, really good. He had that outside slider. That was a lot for us too as well. Man, just it sucks. It sucks because this was a pretty good Blue Jays team. I was pretty excited to see a good playoff run, or at least making it out of the wild card round. A little sad, but I mean, overall, I'm happy for Seattle. I mean, like we were talking earlier, they're up against the Astros right now, so they look like they might take a good game 1. So, I mean, yeah, I told you, I'm a big Blue Jays fan, but I love Seattle as well, so they're my hope to win it all now, and we'll see how it goes. But yeah, that was a good Seattle Blue Jays game. It sucks that we let up that lead. It was just not good. Man, it was 8-1 lead at the 4th or 5th. We ended up giving up 8 runs in between the 6th and the 8th inning. It was just good Mariners pitching. They ended up closing us out after we started really hot as well too. So good for them.
Yeah, I mean Castillo's tough because with that sidearm angle and his pitches all dart either way out or they dart in. I mean he's getting the Guerrero eating them up all inside. So that was tough against them. But I mean Jordan, your Yankees get started tonight, so.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta talk about the wild card. Just it's the Mets kind of messed up their season, man, because obviously they had the polar bear with Pete Alonso, they had Francisco Lindor, they had Max Scherzer, I know DeGrom missed half the year, but he came back half the season. But I mean, I'm in Jersey, so you're either a Mets fan, a Yankee fan, a Jets fan, or a Giants fan. So the Mets had, they were talking all that crap, which they should have, because they were the top team in the AL. But I feel like they just got too cocky with their lead, and they let Atlanta catch up. And then, I mean, they could have sailed throughout the season and had that first round bye. Now dealing with a best of 3 series and a wild card, that's a whole flip of the season. And so I think the Padres won the first game, and then the Mets took the second game, and then the Padres took the third game, which was a storyline itself because I guess Buck Showalter had Peter Musgrove check his glove for any substance, and there was no substance in his glove. I think they checked the glove, his ear, behind the ear, make sure he had no substance. So
they said it was red hot.
Right, and then it was red hot, something like that. Well, apparently one of my friends said when you have hot sauce in your ear, it gets you more more.
Yeah, that's what Andrew McCutchen, that's what he tweeted out as well too. He was like, pitchers have been doing it for a long time now. We don't know why they do it, but they put it on their ears and it tingles. It kind of just gets them in the zone type thing.
Right. And then the Guardians and they played the Blue Jays, right? The Guardians.
No, they played the Rays.
Oh, the Rays. Yeah. So literally, I was on my ESPN app, ninth. The game was 0-0 all the way through. So the 15th inning, and then I couldn't watch the game live, so I was on my ESPN. Literally, someone hit a home run,
Oscar Gonzalez hit a walk off in the 15th.
Yep. So I mean, I'm watching the series. I mean, I watched the other game earlier, Phillies and Braves, Philly took game one, and then now we have now. I would be so happy if like the Houston can like lose a series because the Mariners are looking good, man. With I feel like they can take a couple games but obviously they're Houston has home field advantage, but like I said, Kyle, like not my Ravens, my Yankees play tonight around like in a couple minutes. Yeah, I mean, I feel like we can just not destroy them, but obviously we have the better well-rounded roster with Judge, Stanton. I know Chapman messed up he was in Miami. But we don't really need him. I mean, I guess we can for his firepower, but he's been kind of like slacking off in the playoffs and stuff. So, I mean, he's like a distraction to the team right now. So, and I know LeMahieu's out too. I think he was injured, so that's another big piece. But we have like Oswaldo Perez. We have Oswaldo Cabrera. So we have a good team. So I'm excited to see how we do against the Guardians. But I mean, I'd rather play them than the Rays in the second round. So.
Well, that was Shane's comment. So what's up, Shane? Thanks for commenting. I do agree with this. The Padres, especially the way they looked in the wild card round. I mean, they look like they could be a dangerous team out in the National League for sure. Yeah. So, but yeah. So with that, I guess my main point or question about the playoffs are: we've seen the teams that have come out of the wild card round, have rode that momentum so far, at least with, the Phillies beating the Braves earlier today. Mariners look like they're going to upset the Astros in game one. I guess which team that was on a bye do you think is more at risk for probably an upset based off of what we saw in the wild card round?
Like an upset series or a game?
Yeah, like in terms of the series. Yeah.
Do you want to go first, Dylan?
Yeah. I'll go first. So we were talking about this a little bit beforehand, and I said we were talking about the Padres a lot before we went on to the podcast. And I just basically said, I mean, the Padres, you got to think about it. They went up against a team in the wild card round that was supposed to be a projected 2 seed for a while, supposed to win their conference, and they ended up losing a little bit out to the Braves, end up getting a wild card team, and then beating a team who is well known for their pitching. I mean, like we were talking earlier, Scherzer had a horrible game. He had a 13.50 ERA, gave up 7 runs, 4 homers, which wasn't good. Then DeGrom came in the second game, had a really good pitching game that game. What was the score? I believe they shut him out. I have it, actually. Yeah. Oh, no, it was 3-7. But really good pitching game for DeGrom on that one. And then the second game, they just more pitching struggles for the Mets. Like I said, a team that was supposed to be really good in pitching. Bassett didn't have a great game 3. He ended up only pitching for 4 innings, giving up 3 runs and a 6.75 ERA. Well, I'm not sure what the relief pitcher's name was, but he ended up giving up 2 runs and like not even an inning pitched as well. This is a team that has a lot of firepower, like we were talking about earlier. And as long as they can get someone else to step up in the bullpen, that's going to be really dangerous as long as they can keep this firepower going. I mean, like I said, it's scary for me when teams with a really great pitching just get like blown out, and that's what the Padres were doing to them. And I like momentum. We were talking how momentum does so much to teams in the playoffs, especially when we're looking at it now with the Mariners about to upset the Phillies upsetting game 1. I don't think it's anything.
Oh, damn, they hit a home run. Goddamn. 8-7 Astros.
So they walked off.
So,
okay.
I mean, Dylan, as you speak, they walk it off. So.
I mean,
wow.
Fair enough. Wow.
See, that's what sports is all about. Upsets. right as I cut you off, they hit a home run, walk off. I think it was I'm not sure who it was. I think it was. Damn.
Probably that's postseason baseball, because now the Mariners were going about thinking that they might steal game 1. That's a tough way to lose a game 1. Luckily, they come back game 2 tomorrow, so you don't really have to think about it too much. But I mean, it's a lost opportunity for sure.
After Dylan was going to speak, I was going to say Seattle has this game in the bag, but I don't know what to say. But I don't know what to say now. Now I'm scared because Houston's up now. No, but man, I don't know what to say. I mean, I guess I think Alvarez hit the home run. I think number 44. So
Okay.
man, I don't know. I'm pissed now. It's kind of like this is like real me, like real reaction to a game. Like it's, but I mean,
Yankees fan reaction
The
to
Astros are
Astros
battle
walk-off.
tested. I mean, you got to give them that.
yeah, I
Fine, give
mean,
it to them. I mean, that kind of makes me want to change my point a little bit, but I'll still stick with it. I still think the Padres are a good power team, and they're out with momentum. I mean, the thing with Mariners that I didn't mention, they just went scoreless for a while before, like from the first game to the second game, they went a while without hitting anything, and they went crazy this game. So, I mean, I thought they were going to start off a little bit slower than they did, but then before we went on the podcast, they were going crazy. So I changed my mind a little bit, but. Yeah, I think the Padres are more prime upset. I mean, of course, you have like the Phillies and stuff like that. I just wanted to go a little bit out of the box and do something a little different because I imagine a lot of people are going to pick like the
I
Phillies
feel like on
and
my
different things
end,
like that.
Dylan like froze, but I know he's probably still talking, isn't he?
yeah, I can hear him still. He's kind of like a little choppy a little bit, like in the picture, but it's pretty good.
All right.
We can hear him now.
I can hear everybody just
Hold on,
fine.
Dylan. Let me bring you back in. Let me see if that fixes it.
Remember that I had on my podcast with Frankie? Like, kind of couldn't hear him really.
Wow. Well, am I good?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, there you go. Dustin puts it probably perfectly for you, Jordan.
The dirty bastard Astros. Mariners team is special last thing. Oh man. So I mean, like you. So Kyle, like to answer to your question from earlier, like what's team with the bye can have. I mean, obviously anything can happen in this playoffs. A walk off can happen. And if here's conflict just like that, because I think it's best of 5. So what? 3 games. Mm-hmm. So the Astros win like 3 times in a row, or is it 2 times? I think it's 3 times, right?
Yeah, you got to win 3 out of 5.
2 now. It's 2 now.
Oh, right. It's 2 now. So if they go up another game, then that's over. But yeah, I mean, this game proves that if you're the best team, you can, and you're down, you can come back. Same with the other opposite team. Like if you're the underdog, you can take the series. Like it's like the Mariners are doing the whole game. So that's why Yankees, we can't be too cocky because the Guardians, they can be up. I mean, and they can beat us first game. But I mean, since we're at home, I think we have the better advantage here. But because I've been to a Yankee Stadium before, it's, that crowd's kind of crazy there. So yeah, I mean y'all saw me, like I'm kind of like surprised. I'm not surprised, but I'm like, wow, like this. They only had like 1 or 2 more pitches left to close the game out, and they had a walk-offs.
Yeah, and I think based off of let's see, Dustin says why the MLB needs to permanently adopt the 2020 COVID playoff format. 8 teams in each league, best of 3 the first round, then normal the rest of the way. It could create more intriguing matchups like this year. I mean, I can agree with that.
I'm open for it.
Yeah, I almost on the line of Dylan before we came on, where I was saying like there is a point where you can add teams to the playoff format and not feel like it's cheapened anything, because college football is kind of running to this problem where you have the same about 4 teams in the playoff every year, and people just kind of get sick of it. If you allow more teams in, you create more matchups, you expose more people to the young players coming up, because baseball's had issues with kind of celebrating their stars. Because, Mike Trout's supposed to be the best player in the league. Most people probably couldn't pick Mike Trout out of a lineup on the street. So I agree with Dustin there. We'll see if baseball does it. Baseball can be a little stubborn at times. But I guess just to answer my own question, I think with the Phillies winning today against the Braves and then them stacking Nola and who's the other pitcher coming up after him? But they have like 2 top pitchers going in the next 2 games. I think the Braves could be on upset alert. But, I mean, the Braves are a tough team, and Braves have a great offense because they almost came back today. So, I mean, Game 2 is going to be very important in that series. And if Philly were to steal Game 2, I think that one could end early. All right, Dustin coming in again. Add 2 teams in the AL. Baltimore against the 2nd seed would have to play the Yankees. White Sox, the 8th seed, would have gotten the Astros if you had 2 in the National League. Brewers get 7, play the Braves. Giants, the 8th seed, face the Dodgers.
Yeah, I think those
Yeah.
all would be very intriguing matchups. I think those all would be like stuff I'd like to see. Like I like when more teams get in the playoffs because a lot more teams try harder in the playoffs. Like regular season and the playoffs are just different animals, especially in most sports. So like if you get more teams added in there, the potential chance for bigger moments, more upsets, like bigger chance to see who actually is the best team in baseball.
Yeah, and it also creates more intrigue at the end of the regular season.
Hmm.
More games become more important. So, I mean, Dustin, if it happens,
A lot
we'll
more
credit
effort
you
too.
with it.
Yeah, a lot more effort too, because more teams will, like we said, be trying to get those. Because there's 2 more playoff spots now. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
All about keeping markets interested.
Yeah, I think who was the pitcher this for the Phillies for the first game? I'm trying to look that up. Was it Suarez?
Yeah,
Yep.
Yeah. So I think the pitcher you're talking about is
I know Nola goes game 2. I'm trying to think of who
no
goes.
Zach Wheeler goes tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
Zach Wheeler.
Oh,
Then I
Nola's game
think
3.
game 3 if necessary. No, Friday they play if necessary. I think. Yeah, Aaron Nola. Yeah, pitches. Yeah.
Okay.
So. And plus, they won 7-6, so it's not like they blown. I thought. I mean, when I watched the game earlier, like they were kind of up by a lot, so Braves kind of came back on them. But
yeah, the Braves
biggest
slowly
issue-
chipped away.
Yeah. The biggest issue with the Braves this game is they left so many runs on the table, like so many. I think like by the 4th inning, I heard like one of the announcers said they left like 7 runs up practically, just full loaded bases. Like the bases were loaded so many times for the Braves that game. At least early on, it was for sure, and just a lot of just non-runs gone in basically.
Yeah, because Suarez was flirting with disaster. Like the first couple of innings, he loaded the bases. He got a double play. I think that was the 2nd inning. And then
He was pulled in like the 4th too, wasn't he?
Yeah,
I think
he's
I
up
think
to like
3
85 pitches or something.
He had like 3 innings. I think 3 innings pitched. That's right.
Yeah, because I was like, he's not getting credited with the win. He's getting an assist this game, but still, it's a little scary.
In the playoff, managers can be a little lenient in terms of their starting. Well,
But-
especially with Suarez being wild because he had like 5 walks. I don't think they wanted to push it too much and have him, give the game away or give the Braves some momentum.
Oh yeah, no, because like we said earlier, he left like a lot of runs on the table. Like, man, he was flirting with disaster. Like another inning, there could have been 4 or 5 up on the board for the Braves right there. You never know.
Yeah.
He went 3.1 innings pitched. He got hit 3 times, 1 error and 5 double hits off of him, and then he had 5 strikeouts and he gave it 1 home run. So he was like 4 innings he pitched.
Mhm.
It's not that good for a playoff game.
I mean, Dustin has another good point where baseball has the longest season but has the fewest amount of playoff teams, which doesn't make any sense, and I do agree with that.
Agreed. It's like what they play 162 this year, and what was it before 182, or has it always been 162?
It's been 162 unless there's been like a strike year where they've played a little less, but
Yeah. So like you're telling me like you play the most regular season games, the most fluctuation is going to happen in your standings, but you have the less likely chance of making it to the playoffs.
like I said, baseball has it's just weird with some of the fans in baseball because they have like a lot of traditionalists that don't like to see these wide spread change. I mean, look, the pitch clock has like been divisive among people, and wild card was divisive. So, I mean, it's good to see that they're starting to implement some stuff to kind of modernize the game a little bit. I mean, 162 is a long season, and if you miss the playoffs by like a game or two, kind of
Pissed.
sucks. So
Pissed. If I was a baseball player, not just half a game back of a playoff spot, pissed. I'd be like, what's the
Right.
whole point? Whole point.
exactly. Well, Dustin again chiming in. That is true. I forgot about that. Yeah, they're changing like their schedule format.
Oh,
So yeah.
Oh, okay.
So it's gonna be like
No,
less division games because right now they play each other like 19 times. Which
Yeah. I was doing like research for like the next series playoffs games, and I was just gonna like just tell like a little fun stat of like who holds the season lead, and I was like, dang, the Dodgers and the Padres played 19 times this season. My gosh.
yes, I think next year that number goes down to like I think it's like 14 or 15 games they play or
That's
something like
fine.
that.
I feel like every team should play each other, and if you have 162 games, like I don't see why not.
Once again, traditionalists didn't like that. They liked
Yeah.
it to be in American League playing American League, and you didn't see the National League until the World Series. So
Yeah. Well, I know. NBA is like what age of games they play. Their conference or their division like 4 times a season for NBA, and then I think like football, I think it'd be twice.
mhm.
So MLB, I didn't know you play like they play 19 games like in their own division. That's crazy. It's a lot.
All right, so Dustin fact checking me. Okay, so they do play 14 times next season.
You play the same division
6 times, and they play reigning games across. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that's perfect.
I
Once
mean,
again,
like-
that exposes cities to teams you normally wouldn't see.
Well, like we were talking about, like an earlier podcast, like the MLB is doing a lot more to get like a lot of fan investment in it too, and like I feel like that's really good. If like I'm a fan of like, for example, Seattle, if I'm a fan of Seattle, then we're gonna go against a team like the Padres, or we're gonna go against a team like the Dodgers, who is not someone we normally face. Like that's gonna have so much interest because now you get to see like your favorite players play against some of the league's best as well on the other side, and it
Right,
just
and-
creates more interest for everybody.
And plus, I guess like changing their rules or like the pitch count, like the pitch clock, and then like they can't do any divisive switches. I think or shifts. I think they're getting rid of that. So that's gonna be interesting to see too, like how the game speeds up too. And I think are they getting rid of the Ghost Runner too, or are they keeping that in overtime, like the Ghost Runner? Because I thought that was like a test for like a couple of seasons.
I think they're keeping that, but
because I mean I'm all about the old school, like earning your guy on second base, but I guess speeding up the game process of overtime. But it's free baseball, I guess. Sorry for all the comments, but I follow baseball. Oh, no,
Hey.
Dustin, man, don't apologize.
yeah,
man.
Dustin, you
Please,
keep
bro.
dropping comments all night. We got no problem with it.
Makes it easier on us.
Yeah.
So
Like you're
they
giving us
expanded
stats,
to
I
32.
don't know. So
Montreal and Vegas entering the league. I mean, I knew Vegas was, going to be a destination.
Vegas is getting teams everywhere.
Yeah,
That's gonna be
every
hot.
league wants.
It's gonna be
every
hot
league
in
wants to
Vegas,
find that.
man. I would not go to a game in Vegas.
I like Montreal's getting one. I like Montreal's getting one as well.
Yeah, I mean they had the Toronto Blue Jays. Why not have another Canadian team?
Yeah, they had the Expos that became the Nationals.
Yep.
And
Well, I was thinking that. I was like, didn't they used to have the Expos, but I wasn't sure
Mhm.
where they located to. So I was like, I'll just keep that comment to myself.
yeah, they went to Washington to be the Nationals. I mean,
So,
they
yeah.
were a good franchise. I mean, you had Pedro up there, you had Vlad Guerrero Sr. up there. So I'm glad that they're going back there. But yeah,
Yeah,
everybody
the
wants
NBA's
to be Vegas.
Yeah, NBA's expanding, and their teams are probably going to be Vegas, Seattle. So
Well, yeah.
Well, Seattle should have never lost to Supersonics.
agreed.
Oh, they should.
Agreed. I'm a
Agreed.
Hawks fan now. But when Seattle gets their team, I'm only a Hawks fan because of Trae Young. I'm like big Trae Young guy. When I started watching the NBA, didn't really have a favorite team. I'm from Kansas, so it's not like we have any locals outside. The Thunder didn't really want to be a Thunder fan, so Trae Young's my guy. But once Seattle gets a team, gonna be whatever we call them. Probably the Supersonics. Better still be the Supersonics. Gonna be a fan of them.
They have to bring back the old
It
logo and
has
everything. Yeah.
I don't even say necessarily they have to bring back the old logo. If they wanted to bring like a modernized logo and still, they just bring back the name and probably the color scheme, and I'd be happy.
Yeah, I know. I know LeBron's pushing for a team in Vegas, or possibly
Well, he wants ownership.
possibly when he
of the-
retires.
yeah.
Yeah, he wants to own her. Yeah, but
Because they're going to move to Vegas whether LeBron wanted it or not. Because they're seeing how Vegas is blown up with
I mean, I feel like
Raiders and all that, the Vegas Knights. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I feel like I mean, I know Baltimore has like the Ravens for football, but I feel like I know Washington has DC for NBA. I would like a Baltimore team because there's a lot of nice Baltimore like players in their city who play like that are like Kevin Durant came from Maryland, right? Like KD came from Maryland, Carmelo came from Anthony, or came from Seattle. Well, no,
Like
Carmelo came from Baltimore too.
Yeah. Camelo's from the Baltimore
So
area.
like, yeah, I mean, I would not be like pissed if like Baltimore brings an NBA team. But I don't know where they're gonna put the stadium at, but But they got some good players that come from like Maryland. Like they got Victor Oladipo that came from
Well, I
Maryland.
mean, you have the Wizards that kind of takes care of that area.
Yeah, I guess. But like, weren't they bought like the Baltimore Bulls at one time? And
I
then
think like way back in the day.
way back in the day when they had like the old fashioned jerseys.
Bullets, yeah.
But yeah, I would not be. I mean, I wouldn't. I would never be a fan of that. But like, I guess the DC would take care of that the DMV area.
I mean, the NFL, Washington has a football team. So does Baltimore. Like, come on.
That's what I'm saying. Like, yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
But I don't know where they will put the stadium because they got the Baltimore
MLB.
Ravens and the Ravens.
MLB, Washington has a team. So does Baltimore.
That's true. Yeah.
I mean, they could find somewhere to put an arena, I'm sure. But
Yeah.
that might be interesting to find out, like, why they didn't put a basketball team in Baltimore when you have the other sports there as well. But
yeah, like I mean,
marketing
Philly
money.
has like Philly have the Flyers, 76ers and Eagles in the same area. Like, why not have an NBA arena? But I know that Baltimore inner city is like Inner Harbor area is kind of like congested, so I have to move somewhere else. I know they Commanders saying they're like in what? They're not really in DC. They're like outside of DC, so it's like Fairfax or something like that.
the Commanders, are they still in Landover or something?
Orlando.
Yeah, they're outside of Washington. I know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I know LA is making another stadium, Clippers, for their new stadium. So in a couple of years, so I mean, maybe Baltimore will think about.
They have to. The whole sharing with the Lakers, and then they go in there. The only Laker banners up there, all the Laker retired numbers. The Clippers never felt like a home to them. So they had to get somewhere else to go. I mean, since we're kind of talking basketball, we might as well just continue with it.
Yeah.
All right, so here comes Dustin again. Baltimore had an old ABA team.
Yeah.
Okay, so the Commanders do play in Landover.
Landover,
So, okay. See, Dustin keeping us on track.
Dustin keeping us on track, man.
I appreciate that, Dustin. So with the NBA, season starts next week. Actually,
for real?
While we're on opening night.
Yeah, it starts the 18th.
Yep.
It's Tuesday, right? Next Tuesday?
Yeah, I think
Yep.
Celtics Sixers are the first
Celtics
game.
Sixers, and then
think
Lakers Warriors later that night.
Warriors. Oh.
Yeah. So with that, I mean, we've gone through Eastern Conference, Western Conference, and all that. But I just want to ask just a couple of quick questions. Which team, okay, so you're sitting at home, you have League Pass, you just need to watch a team play. Who are the teams that you think will be the most exciting to watch? Whether they win or not, you're just in it for the entertainment value.
Are you talking about this season overall or the opening night? Like
season overall, like which teams have you intrigued?
I do want to see that the Grizzlies and the Warriors. Kind of they got some beef, man. Like from the playoffs. I know John Morant's been barking at Draymond Green a lot. I think they meet on Christmas Day. I think. So. I mean, me being a Lakers fan, I want to see my Lakers win, but that matchup between the Grizzlies and Warriors is going to be kind of interesting because during the playoffs, I think they played in round 2, I believe, and John Morant got hurt, so he didn't really play half the series. So he was like, we'll see y'all, we meet y'all outside parking lot, John Morant. Yeah. So yeah, I mean that team's kind of it's still young. They got Desmond Bain. They got Steven Adams still. I mean, who's that? Malik? No, not Malik Jack.
Jaren Jackson.
Jared Jackson.
Yeah, he's going to be out. I think he's going to be out for a little bit to start, though. I think he's not going to be back till around December-ish, they said. So that's going to suck for him.
I mean, but John Morant brings that young. He might be like a young, Russell Westbrook in a way. He brings that the next generation of athletic, ability to the court. So. And that's the team I'm looking out for that series, that back and forth series.
All right. So wait, you said Morant reminds you of Westbrook?
Like a young Russell Westbrook, how he can just drive to the paint and dunk, how he used to on OKC.
He has that quick first step.
And he kind of has a better jump roll for right now. He has a better jumper than Russell Westbrook had. He's more consistent, I guess, with the ball. But that bounce he has, man, it's crazy.
See, well, when I guess first saw Morant play, I kind of thought young Derrick Rose.
Yeah, but pre-name, right? Yeah.
So the thing with Morant is I'm a big college head. I love college sports, basketball, football. I watched him all at Murray State, and when they entered that tournament, I was like, the tournament he went before he got drafted, I was like, man, he's about to go crazy. Like, he's gonna go crazy. He's gonna like shoot up his draft stock, and that's what he did. And like, man, I love John Morant. I'm excited to see the Grizzlies play. Probably not going to be one of my teams that I'm a little bit higher on because Jaren Jackson's out for a little bit, and that kind of does a lot because he is a big focal point of that offense, and that whole team in general. But yeah, I like John Morant a lot. One of my favorite players for sure.
Okay. So
Yeah, I was gonna say that too. Like, you know,
he takes scary falls. That's the one thing with Morant. Like, he'll go up there and he'll make those explosive plays, but man, sometimes he comes down really hard and it's scary. Like, there's a lot of times throughout the season you hear Morant fell down hard. It's like, gosh, how many of those can you take before it's serious?
Yeah.
Well, that's the tough thing with athletic guards because we saw Iverson took a lot of big falls. It's just the nature of the beast because, you know, Morant's a guy who's fearless at the rim. So when you go up there among the trees, you're going to take a hit a couple of times or two.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, of course, I'm interested to see my Celtics play, of course. But
yeah, with that coaching situation, yeah, it's going to be interesting.
I don't even think that's going to be as big of a deal as people are making it. I think Mazzulla's going to be fine because he's basically going to be preaching the same stuff Udoka is preaching. Defense, moving the ball, I've seen that so far in the preseason with them, which has me excited to watch them. But since I am in the Atlanta area, I do keep an eye on the Hawks as well. I am interested to see the Trae Young, DeJounte Murray dynamic, how that works. And if it's something that, you know, if it does work out, I think the Hawks could be somewhat of a surprise in the East. Not necessarily top 4, but 5, 6, why couldn't they be in that area, you know? And, you know, Trae Young, you know, he has his moments, especially when he goes to Madison Square Garden. That's going to be something everyone's going to want to watch because he loves lighting up the Knicks. So I think those are the teams I'd say I'd probably be tuning into the most.
Right. For me, if I could pick the West today, I would follow this Golden State Clippers, Paul stay healthy, New Orleans team on the rise. Okay.
I'm not mad at that.
New Orleans was definitely one of those teams I had on my list for teams I'd like to watch just because like I put down like a list of teams and like just had like little like exclamation like quotations on reasonings. Basically my reason for New Orleans is Zion's return, but CJ McCollum is there now. So like CJ McCollum's been there for a couple of years, but he hasn't been able to play with Zion. We came in there last year, and then of course Zion was out for the whole season, and then that never happened. Now you throw Brandon Ingram into the mix, Zion Williamson, who looks healthy, who looks a lot like, I don't want to say thinner because that sounds mean, but a lot of people was concerned about how big he was getting and everything like that. He did look like he had like a healthy rehab. He looks great, and that's like really good for that New Orleans team.
He was eating that jambalaya, man. That
New Orleans food. One of my best friends, like, man, that Cajun cooking's good. His parents from New Orleans, so I can see it. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm also excited for the Timberwolves. The Timberwolves are a team that I think are going to shock a lot of people. I wouldn't even say shock because I think the NBA came out with their little like GM poll, and like I think they had the Timberwolves like as a 3 seed or the 4 seed. So I don't think it's anything too crazy if they do that good. But I mean, you have arguably the best defensive center and now arguably the best defensive shooter. That best big man shooter on the same team. Yeah. And then you have Anthony Edwards to go with that too.
Oh yeah.
And then if D'Angelo Russell can stay hot, like if he can get on, like you have D'Angelo Russell, that's going to be added to that mix as well too. So it's going to be a lot crazy. I'm really excited for that Timberwolves team. Big D'Angelo Russell guy, so I'm going to watch a lot of them. And then my last team I had was the Cavs. I mean, they added Donovan Mitchell this year. They're going to have a great backcourt between Garland and Mitchell. Like, plus Evan Mobley. Like, a lot of people are projecting him to have like an even bigger breakout season. I love Jared Allen. Liked him when he was on the Nets. I thought he was great center. I thought he was going to be big, and I thought he was going to be bigger when he went to the Cavs. And now this is a Cavs team that could really do something in the East as well. And then I had like a little sidebar comment, and I said the Nets, like, are we going to actually see all 3 of them play? Because if we're actually going to see all 3 of them play, like, that's going to be something really interesting to watch.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of had a crush for Dustin in the comp because like he put the Lakers as like 6, and like was it because like, you know, Russell Westbrook, or because, I mean, depending on if AD can stay healthy, Because I'm surprised that he put the Clippers over the Lakers because Kawhi hasn't played, and they haven't had a chemistry either. So I mean, I don't know.
Anthony Davis hasn't played.
I know,
I could probably answer this for Dustin. I just think the makeup of the Clippers just seems like it's better put together than the Lakers.
Played, he's injury prone. I mean, he hasn't really played.
But,
that's the starting point guard apparently. So I mean, I don't have no hate on John Wall. I'm just saying, like, he hasn't played. Kawhi hasn't played. I know AD hasn't played. LeBron was hurt. But I mean, with like a healthy LeBron and a healthy AD, like asterisks on that. I mean,
well, that's what I'm saying. That's the bigger questions.
Team, you know what I'm saying? Yeah,
the bigger questions are with the Lakers because
that type of same question mark. I mean, Kyrie has his issues. Ben Simmons has his issues. KD is a freaking whiner. You know what I'm saying? They haven't really played together. So I mean, everyone had a question mark going into the season. So like, you know what I'm saying? So.
Yeah, I was about to say that's the reason right there.
I mean, they did try something like Juan Toscano Anderson, a good defender. Lonnie Walker. Like, people are sleeping on Lonnie Walker, man.
Hey, what's up, Lennon? How you doing?
6'7". I think he's like a 6'7" guard. I think. They got Patrick Beverly. I know I like his dog mentality. I know on my podcast about how Beverly could get fouled out quickly, but I think he brings that fire, that that aggressiveness to the team. I mean, you got who else? I mean, Trent Jones. A shooter, I know, and I know that a well-known shooter. I know they got Dennis Schroeder coming back. I mean, you got some good pieces coming back. So, I mean, on paper, it seems like it could work out. And Darvin Ham's the new coach, or Darvin Ham. I think it's Darvin Ham. Darvin Ham, the new coach. I mean, we'll see how it works. I mean,
I'm just saying, like, if you look at the Clippers and the Lakers. Yes, both teams have questions. I guarantee. I agree with you there. With AD and LeBron, it's more of, at this point, we're not expecting LeBron to play 82 games. So you can already take that off the board. LeBron's only played 82 games like once in his career, so that's never been his thing.
But I think on the Cavs, I believe that 1 year.
Yeah, and so the Lakers are going to looking at it. Can they get 70 to 72 games out of LeBron? I think if they get that, they'll be fine.
Right.
With AD, the number might be even lower. Can they get 65 out of AD? Because we saw it in the bubble. If AD's healthy and he gives them a low post presence that they don't really have, he gives them rim protection that they don't really have. But the problem's always going to be when, AD takes a tumble to the floor. Will he get up? If he does get up, it's going to be limping. If he's not limping, is it going to be something the next day we're hearing like, oh, a back or a knee or something? The Clippers, yes, we haven't seen Kawhi in a while. But since he's on Toronto, we actually seen him play. That's the last time, really, right? Or no, he played
a little bit. Yeah, he played a little bit.
And I mean, Kawhi had questions coming out of San Diego State. They talked about he had like arthritic knees back then, and that's never a good thing. But I think when you look at Kawhi, PG-13, even John Wall, this is going to be the first time where John Wall's not the number one option. So he just has to fit in where he can. He can give them, pace on the break and all that. I just think the optimism with the Clippers is just a little bit higher than with the Lakers right now. That's why
I guess they got better, right? And they got Lou as a coach. So I mean, that's
right. And we don't know Darvin Ham's coaching style.
That's.
I'll also add on to that, and I think the reason the Clippers are getting a bigger outlook is because, like, if you look at the makeup of their bench, a lot of these guys have been on this Clippers team for a while. Like, you have your Reggie Jackson, you have your Luke Kennard, you have your Terrence Mann, you have your Zubac. Like, this is a team that has a Kawhi Leonard, it has a Paul George, and then what they put around them is, one, it's the same people every year to keep learning this system. Like, this is going to be a second-year Clippers team with roughly the same makeup, with roughly the same team members outside of John Wall, and now you're going to just keep running the same offense. You're going to keep getting better. Like, I think there's just a lot of teammate chemistry here that just now you're adding hopefully a healthy, like asterisks, of course, hopefully a healthy Kawhi Leonard, hopefully a healthy Paul George, hopefully a healthy John Wall. And like adding that all up is going to do a lot. And that's why I think Clippers have it. over the Lakers, just because if you look at the Lakers on paper now, like their bench is going to be different. Their starting lineup's going to be a lot different. This is a new coach now. And I just think a lot of people are picking the Clippers over them just because we have this consistency. Like we've seen Tyronn Lue coach this team and they made it like they've done good. So I think just having the makeup of that bench and everything like that is like the reason the Clippers are so high.
Yeah, I guess some teams do have question marks like the Lakers and Nets. You know, if they can stick together, like play chemistry, gel together. I mean, Clippers. I mean, I'm not really hating on the Clippers because I like Paul George and John Wall. I'm a fan of him. Pre-injury, he was explosive. But then after that, I think De'Aaron Fox took that step. Before he went down with the injury. He was explosive, and then De'Aaron Fox from the Kings, was that explosive point guard to get on the fast break. But yeah, I mean, whatever. I mean, like I think that they all said is true. I think that this a big if, like you said, Kyle, a big if like AD can stay healthy and manages his health. I mean, AD is the top 5 center in the league if healthy. Like he's up there with Embiid, Jokic. He's up there, we saw what we can do in the bubble, what I'm saying? So bubble AD, that's what we need. But
yeah,
people people on TikTok have been like making fun of AD, like, oh, I'm playing my career in the NBA, and we get hurt in the free or whatever in my career, whatever, like because he's fragile. But it's all. I mean, AD looked pretty good in the preseason, like doing like step back jumpers and stuff and threes and stuff. So. As long as he can maintain his body, get healthy. I mean, I think it's, it's a big what if. You know what I'm saying? If
Yeah, I feel like this Lakers team, like on paper, they could be better than the Clippers. I wouldn't be surprised if LeBron James can stay healthy, if Anthony Davis can stay healthy, like if this team can work out together. If at the end of the season we see the Lakers above the Clippers, I wouldn't be shocked at all. But it's just right now, it's hard to believe in that Lakers. It's hard for me to look at it and had to go, you have to pick the standings right now, and that's it. I couldn't put the Lakers above the Clippers.
Appreciate the comment, Dustin. He says he likes the show, one of the better podcasts he's seen.
Let's join it someday. Yeah, we talk baseball every week, so whenever you'd like to join, we can get NBA, you on for baseball NFL. For sure. NBA, NFL, anything you know about, come on. We'll always take an extra guest.
Exactly. Well, I was about to say also, even if you look at Golden State, we don't know what this Draymond Green thing might do to the chemistry of the team, because it's going to be a little weird. It's going to be a little weird when he comes back from sabbatical or whatever he's going on.
I heard
anger management.
Jordan Poole walking into the locker room that first time, and it's going to be like, yeah, remember when you sucker punched me? I didn't forget. Who's to say Jordan Poole doesn't, haul off and hit him one day? But
I mean, look at what Michael Jordan did. He freaking didn't he punch Steve Kerr at practice?
Yeah, Steve Kerr says that was the moment where the two of them actually
butted
became
heads.
Friends because
because
Jordan realized that Kerr wasn't going to back down from him.
I did hear a story. I think I was on. Stephen A. said it on his first take. That after this year, Draymond wasn't going to come to the Lakers. I don't know.
Stephen A. tries to send everybody to the Lakers or the Heat. I wouldn't buy into that yet.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe that is where he wants to go. I guess so. Then maybe he can stick to the Warriors after that. But I mean, I don't know. What would Draymond Green? Let's say if you put him on this version of the Lakers, I mean, he gives you another defensive guy, which defense is going to be, a question for them. But I don't know, him, Patrick Beverly, even Westbrook, I can see the three of them fighting at some point during the season.
Well, hopefully Westbrook will be gone next year. So.
That's true. It'll be interesting to see because
and don't forget, Lakers can. I mean, in other teams they can get what it was like the trade deadline. They can get some. I mean, that's up, kid. Yeah, and don't forget, not just the Lakers, other teams can get they can get players at the buyout or at the trade deadline too to trade up the roster. But I mean, we'll see. Things can change in these couple of months. Yeah. We'll see. Lakers can have Draymond. I don't think the Warriors want him. I see them should go up for Vegas.
Yeah, I don't think the Warriors want. I think the Warriors would like to have him for cheap. They don't want to pay him his money.
Oh, they got a Wiseman.
And I don't think they should pay him his money. If you're gonna have to pay, you have to decide between Poole and Draymond Green. I'm sorry, it's a pool party right now.
Right, especially you have Wiseman, who's coming back. Hopefully he can stay healthy.
Oh
Got
yeah,
Kevon Looney. So if you were
They
to
got-
lose Green, they'd be
Finals
fine.
MVP right there.
and they got Moses Moody. He's an underrated talent too. Like Moses Moody.
Really good out of Arkansas. They
Kuminga.
still got Kuminga.
They got
Yep.
Kaminga. Like
Yeah.
they're good.
So like Dylan said, they would love to have Green back for, I mean, his leadership or whatever. But he's obviously one of those guys where you're gonna set a limit, and if he's like, no, I want this, you'll be like, hey,
Okay.
nice having you, but
Like,
you can go.
Thanks for the rings. You got some hardware now. Probably get your number retired here, maybe. You know,
Bill-
you'll have
Bill-
your own
Oh, yeah.
little day.
Bielitsa, yeah.
Oh, Beal. Oh, I think you said his name wrong, but okay, I know.
Well,
Believe,
yeah,
okay.
Bielitsa spells it this weird way. I mean, I knew what you were trying to put. Dustin.
I like
I got
Bill. I like Bill Liftoff. What? Like what?
But yeah, I mean, I think that Draymond Green story is going to be interesting to see because, for all we know, the Warriors could be calling teams right now trying to trade him. We don't know that.
And then don't forget about the Suns with the whole like Sarver situation too. That can like be a whole umbrella. Well, obviously he resigned from the position.
Oh, yeah,
but,
he's
like,
selling it.
you know,
Yeah.
He's selling the team.
but like that
He's
can be a
gonna
distraction a
forced.
little bit, maybe behind the scenes. You know, like with So I mean, teams have different stories, like that before the season starts. So like, Jordan Poole wants to press charges. Oh, for real?
Well, I mean, with the video coming out, I wouldn't be surprised if he wanted to.
No, I think was it Clay or Curry or some player? I think it was I forget who said it, but like obviously the Warriors wanted to have the problem handled internally, but
Yeah.
apparently the TMZ guy kind of like
Yeah.
So I feel like that guy, if he works for the team, should be fired. I mean, I don't know. I mean, because obviously if you're obviously the sign, I mean, I haven't been in the building, but like obviously if I would say no phones or no videography in this.
Man, TMZ
Yeah.
gave him a bag. I imagine
I'm
he
pretty
got
sure.
that video. He saw. I imagine that didn't. He got that video like way after. He's like, "Oh, I'm gonna take a video of this," and told a TMZ reporter, TMZ sports reporter. He's like, "How much you want for the video? That much? That might be worth losing my job."
Yeah, because I mean, I had the conversation like with my dad or something where we were talking about the Draymond Green thing, and my thing was like, Draymond Green's not the first guy to punch a teammate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He and Jordan Poole are not the first to have an argument in practice.
Probably
The
Kobe
only thing
Bryant
was-
did it like back
Yeah.
in the day.
well, there's certain guys who are wired that way that if they, well, I mean, Draymond thing was separate, but your Jordans and your Kobe's and guys like that have this mentality that if they see a guy not pulling their weight in practice or whatever, they're gonna call him out on this, whether or not that person receives it or they
Well,
don't.
I heard with the
Yeah.
Pulse, it was about the contract. I think. Like,
Right,
he
that's
was-
what I'm saying. That,
Yeah.
that situation was different. That was just Draymond Green being
Like
petty.
Pulse was like, "Oh, Draymond,
Well-
I deserve more money than you,
Well-
Draymond." And,
Well, I
oh,
also
Draymond,
heard.
like,
I also
"That
heard it
worked?"
was like. I also heard since after like they won their rings and stuff, like Poole's kind of acting like a little like cocky
Yeah.
or like a little high and mighty. He's
Right.
like acted. He said it's not only him, but I guess other players have noticed he's like slightly changed since like he's now on the verge of getting like a big extension and everything like that. So could have
Oh,
probably
well-
been something that happened throughout the day and just boiled over.
Right, because we kind of saw Poole during the final series start to get even more cocky when he was out on the court, and he wasn't even
Mhm.
having that great of a series. But
Mhm.
once it seemed like they were going to win it, he became. Which I understand all that. That's an issue teams have to deal with. For Poole, he probably saw the Tyler Hero money and was like, "Oh,
I just
homeboy
want a
got
ring.
that. I got a ring. I perform in the playoffs, so I could probably get that too." And then Jordan was saying, Green was probably like, "Bruh, calm down." And then, because I mean, even watching the video, it was like
Poole was
you could
talking.
tell. Yeah, Poole was talking, and Draymond was like, "Okay," and then he gets in his face. Poole pushing him away. I mean, that punch though.
Send him to the
I mean-
shadow realm.
Oh man.
I mean, well, I mean, he didn't really see it coming or whatever, but that's rough to get that on video. And now he's, probably when he goes to away arenas, that's probably gonna be brought up by the fans because we
Oh,
know
yeah,
how these
Jordan Poole
NBA
isn't gonna
fans
have
are.
it easy now. Jordan Poole isn't gonna have it easy now, bro. Like he's gonna talk crap to someone, and someone's gonna be like, "Let me get Draymond."
Right.
Yeah.
But all right, so I just thought of this question. So if you had an NBA franchise, we saw the money Tyler Hero got. You have Hero and Poole and the hero contract is what you're ready to offer both of them, who would you offer it to, Hero or Poole?
Oh, I'd offer it to Poole just because, like, I like Hero. I think Hero is really good, but also, like, man, just because the people around Jordan Poole, like, I would imagine I'd get someone who's been dealt with Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, like all these like plethora of information. Steve Kerr, he's played really well. He played well in the playoffs. He had a couple down series, different things like that. And I just feel like he'll do more because I feel like one, he'll have it's hard to say who'll have more marketability around them because Hero's a really popular name as well. Hero won 6th Man of the Year, really good. I'd have to go see their stats side by side, but I mean, I'm just taking Poole right now just because based off his playoff experience, I believe in a lot of people who get he is a Wisconsin native. I remember when he was supposed to when he committed to, I think it was Wisconsin, and then decommitted, and like, no, Wisconsin was not happy about that. Like the whole state of Wisconsin was like booing him practically.
Yeah. Man, I had to go with Hero because I mean, obviously, so are you talking about this contract wise or like building a team around like or just?
But
you
have,
just
you
have
give one a contract.
Yeah, you have to give one of them a contract. They're both free agents. Who would you give it to?
I'll probably give it to Hero because, like, you know, obviously, you know, I mean, according to the GM poll, I mean, Spoelstra's a top head coach in the league right now. I mean, obviously Steve Kerr's up there too, but like, you know, he got Jimmy Butler, he has Kyle Lowry, he has you know, but I don't know, it's hard because like Dylan said, you know, Poole has Curry, Clay, but I guess right now, like, you know, I guess I would stay a Hero because he's a ball, he can shoot. He's consistent. Like you said, like Poole wasn't really consistent in like the finals. Like he was, you know, had some streaks. And Tyler Hero, like I think he was hurt like a little during that series. Against the Celtics. I think he wouldn't really seen me, but he was hurt. But yeah, and plus he's more marketable. I think I would say too. You know what I'm saying? Because he's in South Beach. You know, he has ties. Obviously, you know, I thought, you know, Jack Harlow and them are close. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean,
that's why I said it was hard to add. That's why I said it was hard to see who.
But yeah, like I see their stats side by side, like, you know,
because like it would have been Hero before like this playoff run. Honestly, like before Poole went off, it would have been Hero easily. But since Poole has now like kind of emerged a little bit and gotten like a lot better, like oof. Because I mean, everyone was chanting Poole party during that Warriors series. Everybody was chanting it. Everyone was chanting it through in the playoffs when he was going crazy. Because like, man, it's tough. It's tough. It's something like it'd be a good decision if you're a GM to have probably any one of them coming off that team.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
What about you? What's your decision, Kyle? What's your decision?
I mean, I'd go back and forth because I mean I've seen probably Hero play a little more, but I do think, oh man, because Hero defensively isn't that great. Although Poole isn't that really great defensively either. I'd probably trust Hero more offensively, but I do think Poole probably has the talent to be a better offensive player down the line. So I'd probably go Hero as well, but it would be a tough decision. I mean, you can't really lose either way because you'd be getting good, like young scorers.
It's like you're getting a really young player who just won a championship, or a really young player who just won 6th Man of the Year, but has also been to the playoffs as the number 1 seed, number 1 seed, number 2 seed a couple times before, and a playoff. So yeah, championship. I mean,
it'd be tough. Trying to think if there's anything else NBA we could talk about before going to NFL stuff. I mean, this might be a tough question for the NBA as well. Breakout stars. Who are you thinking for this season?
Breakout stars, man. Like you're trying to just like one player, or like a couple players, like.
You can give a couple players if there's a couple players that you think are ready to break out this season, make a name for themselves.
I feel like Anthony Edwards is gonna have a good year on the Timberwolves. I think Ja Morant, like I said, once he gets healthy, well, I think he's back to 100%. I know. I really want to see what Donovan Mitchell does with the Cleveland Cavaliers. Who else? I mean, so Ja Morant. I feel like Luka Doncic is gonna go off this year. I mean, when you say he's a breakout, I mean he's been in the league for. I guess would he be a breakout?
I mean, I would say guys like Luka,
Luka.
Donovan Mitchell, they're pretty established.
So like,
Yeah.
I mean, I would say,
Anthony Edwards, I'll give you Anthony Edwards because he's still
there,
really young and building. I give you that one.
I really want to see. I know he's a rookie, but like Banchero, like see how he does with the Magic. You know what I'm saying? Like people have him as rookie of the year already. For Jabari Smith, I think. He's up there with. But Chet Holmgren would have been there, but he's out.
That was tough. Him, would you like break his foot or something, or?
And then they got
it's like a Liz Frank injury, and something like that. And
it was against the play against LeBron, I think, in the Pro-Am thingy. But also that player that's coming in the draft next year, that dude, the tall dude,
Wembanyama. I was talking about him in the group chat today.
He's nice, but the thing I'm not worried about his skill talent or his skills. I'm worried about he's the same body frame as Chet.
I ain't worried about it at all.
You're not worried because his legs are skinny.
That's what the NBA is coming to. Like you look at Chet Holmgren, you look at Jabari Smith. Like this is what the NBA is. You're not allowed to be as physical as you are anymore. So being big and super strong isn't as needed. Because why? Because someone's going to try to bully you down. They're going to get fouled.
No, you're going to get a foul call. We'll see how with Chet Holmgren, he got hurt. So I'm saying I don't want him to get hurt. Before the season starts. Like it's like a Pro-Am game or whatever. Like off a freak accident or whatever. Like that's the other.
I get where Jordan's coming from.
Look at Steven Adams. He was a skinny dude coming in. He gained muscle, but obviously, he was skinny on the Thunder coming in as a rookie. But I figure, I feel like if he gets to like a body frame as like a Rudy Gobert, like a little bit more muscle on him, get his legs more stronger. Like his skill set is unmatched. Like I read an article saying that like the draft stock of this player, like. People are gonna be wanting him, like
it's literally tank for Wembanyama season.
Yeah, and then like apparently there's a dude, Steve Ho, you fat? You heard about
his teammate? That's hilarious. Like that has like an actual French meaning. Like it actually, like Wembanyama said, it actually means something in French that like isn't bad. It's just that just so happens to what it is.
And unfortunately, he's going to be tied to the Kevin Hart clip. I don't know if you've seen it.
Yeah,
where SportsCenter basically just asked him like, you fat? And he was like, but if your announcer says that, they got to make sure they're in the booth by themselves because it's.
He had me in tears, man. He was like, "No, you fat? No. I was talking about the player. No. I'm not fat. You fat? No, not me. No."
Yeah, it's even funnier. Like the announcers were like, "Steve," and then like he would say his name, and then they're like, "Oh, I'm not allowed to say that again."
Right. I do think it's a good thing that the NBA has like a really deep pool of young talent, both in the league now and even. Wembanyama and guys like that coming down the pipeline, where I think the NBA is going to be in good hands once because you got to realize in the next few years, guys like LeBron will be retired, Carmelo, even Derrick Rose. We don't know how much longer he'll be going. So,
and we're getting expansion teams. So like,
right.
Yeah, I've always said this on like my podcast before, like once like the big stars retire, like LeBron, like eventually when KD hangs up, Giannis. Obviously these future wise, we are good. Like with like the pipeline of players coming to the league, like we got like Banchero, Jabari Smith, Jalen's the dude on the Purdue came from Purdue.
Tomorrow, Jaden Ivey, who went to
Jaden Ivey. I don't know why I couldn't think of his name. I was like, Ivey's the last name.
Ron Harper Jr. on the Toronto, a lot of young talent, and we're good with talent, it's gonna be, and plus with people coming from overseas and people coming from like the G League, you know what I'm saying? So it's gonna be interesting, these couple years, in the future. So.
Yeah. The G League's been a great introduction to the league because it gives them like a legit minor league type system, which I think is great with all, because all these colleges are just dumping players out there, but your roster, you can only have 15 active.
Yeah.
So
one thing I dislike about college is we'll see these prospects come out of college and that's like, oh, they averaged 8 points and 3 assists in college, but they're 19. So they're the 3rd overall pick now. And it's just like, man, I would like to see a little bit more out of that. And like the G League gives some of those teams to do good. Like you get to see like Scooter Henderson drop like 25 against like some good European talent, which is something I like. I think it's a good pathway for everybody. Like I think it's good. Like also college isn't for some people. Like
Right.
have a year to like play against great talent.
Yeah, and that's one of the tricky things of the NBA as well, because NFL, you have to be out of high school 3 years before you're draft eligible. NBA, it's only 1 year, and then soon it'll be more high school kids coming back into the league, which that's why I think with the G League being so established, yeah, now teams can draft a high school kid, but now you don't have to put the pressure on them to play right away with the big team, and then fans get to see all their little flaws and be like, oh, this guy is not even that good. You can stash them in the G League, let them get their feet wet, and then, maybe after like the All-Star break or something, if they're killing it down there, now you can bring them up to the club and everybody's like, oh, okay, yeah, he's been killing it in Maine or Fort Wayne or something. And I mean, yeah, like you said, it's hard drafting a guy second overall who averages like 8 points in college, because you're thinking about that, you're like, 8 points, well, how does that make them a superstar? But the way the college game is, he may have averaged 8 points, but they probably had like 3 or 4 other guys who averaged 8 points, and they just spread the scoring around like that.
Yeah.
So, well, then I guess one last thing, even with the Wembanyama guy, you can already see, because Dylan, you made this point, that's where the league is going. So 5 to 10 years, these teams are going to be like 6'6" to like 6'9" starting fives, and they're just going to put the ball out there and just go, and this will be super athletic. 3-point shooting, 3-point shooting big men, point guards that are just, it's going to be crazy to watch that.
Yeah. Well, the crazy thing about this Wembanyama thing is like, man, it's like crazy. People are like, oh yeah, he's going to have $500 million worth of franchise value as soon as he's drafted.
That's what I heard.
Like, I've never heard like Adam Silver have to come out and be like, hey, we guys know you want to tank for this star, but don't. Like, we have a lottery system in place, so if you tank, you might not even win.
Right.
And it's just like, gosh, like it's good to see a prospect that good and just everyone salivating for him. But like, I'm worried about it in a way because I don't want teams to tank. Like, just play basketball. Like, it's a lottery odds. Like, if you don't get them, yeah, it's gonna suck. But like at the same time, like, it just lose. I feel like as a fan, I wouldn't want to watch my team if I knew they were tanking, because it's just like, oh, we're just gonna play a random young lineup, which would be fun to watch here and there. But it's like, man, I just don't want watch my team lose to the Heat by 30 points.
Right. Yeah. It's I got one more point before we go to NFL. So thinking of Ben Simmons, I was looking at the Nets, like the NBA news, and then Steve Nash said that, and I quote, "We'll be talking about Ben Simmons."
Oh, I've seen this.
Yeah, we'll be patient with Ben because he's an incredibly talented and unique player, but he's not going to be at his best in the short term, and he just got to continue to slog through this period and returning to play and getting his confidence, that timing and rhythm back. And then he continued by saying, I think for Ben, a lot of it is not just their understanding, it's the reps. He hasn't played for a long time. He's coming off of a back surgery. So I think that there's some periods of indecision and confidence that he has to gain from playing. All of us do. We can't take this much time off. Join a new group, figure it out day one. Just trust him, Durant said. Passing the ball when it's open, tell him aggressive. I mean, so I don't know. Start off the bat, like Ben Simmons might not play a couple games, might stay on the bench a couple games.
Well, I mean, it's understandable.
Yeah.
We haven't seen him in so long. We all know his limitations. And I mean, I would wonder to whether the Nets will probably protect him from certain cities, because imagine when the Nets go and play Philly. If Ben Simmons is ready to play and he's in that starting lineup, Philly fans are going to give it to him. Based off of the past couple of years where we've seen Ben Simmons not necessarily in the best headspace for the NBA, are they going to like treat him with kid gloves and be like, all right, we're playing in Philly. You know what, Ben? Don't even make the trip. We'll see you back in Brooklyn.
I don't like that, man. Cause it's like that modern. I mean, I know what you're saying is a good point, but like, that's just some like, I want to say a word that's like not for on air, but I can't say it. But it's a P move, man. It's a P move right now, man.
Yeah.
Like,
That's
oh, you can't play in LA because AD's playing against you. Like, come on, like
That's
that would not happen in the
I agree
older
with your
leagues.
point.
Yeah, I agree with your point though. Yeah.
I agree with your point to an extent, but like, well, I'm agreeing with your point. I like Kyle's point because man, Simmons is not there like mentally a lot of times. Like, I mean, like you don't want him checking out in an important moment, and like even if it takes like, hey, come on this trip to Philadelphia, you sit on the bench and then see how that goes. Then you come on this trip to Philadelphia, let's get you some minutes this time. You come on and like so maybe slowly increase his role. I wouldn't say don't have him come on the trip or anything like that. I'd say keep him there, keep him with his teammates. Like he's at some point you're going to need Ben Simmons to play those games if it's a playoff series. So get him used to the atmosphere now because he's going to have to get used to it if you're playing Philadelphia in a 7-game series.
I mean, so like I have a question for you, Kyle. So like, what if Ben Simmons on the Celtics? How would you want it? Well, how do you want them to treat Ben? Like, would you want him to play knowing his talent? Like, would you want them to manage him like that, or would you want him to play?
So I think part of that was because of the culture that's in Brooklyn from the outside looking in, where you're looking at it. You have Kyrie, who you can't trust. You have Durant, where you're not sure week to week what his mood's going to be like. So if they throw Ben Simmons out there and it doesn't work,
all right,
Ben Simmons might become the scapegoat, which could then further hurt his psyche, and then Brooklyn might completely lose him. I don't know. Boston's a little different. Boston's set up in a way where I feel like Boston would let him be him, and the rest of the team would kind of work within that system. Because I've seen Blake Griffin, who just got there, the way Blake Griffin is interacting with the guys in the Celtics, you would have assumed he'd been there like 5-6 years.
Yeah. Well, right. Blake Griffin even said like he's like, this team is just locked in. Like they're just locked in from the start. I don't have to worry about like any outside like things with the team. Basically, he's like, we're just ready to play, and that's like refreshing. Basically.
Yeah. So if Ben Simmons was on a team like that, I wouldn't be worried about it. Even if you took him like with the Lakers or something.
Yeah.
Because you have LeBron, who's an established leader, and we've seen LeBron, not necessarily work well with younger players, but in LeBron's mind, Ben Simmons is an established talent. I feel like he would work with him. Right. But teams like Brooklyn or even like Golden State would have been a perfect place for him as well. Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Ben Simmons could just go out there, do his thing. The fans will be happy with it. Brooklyn, I worry if the season tanks early, they'll probably blame Kyrie because at that point, Kyrie probably would have taken like a couple of weeks off to find himself or something. But then after that, they'd be like, yeah, this Ben Simmons guy, he still can't shoot. His defense is all okay, I guess, but we would have been better off with any number of guys. What did we bring him here for? And then he would have to listen to that day after day from the fans, and then he'd probably, slump away and say his back hurts or something like that. So it's going to be interesting to watch only because this Brooklyn season is going to be under the microscope because Kyrie, maybe this is his last year there. And the way, if Kyrie keeps acting the way he does, Kyrie might find himself on the outs, in a couple of years. Well, everybody will say he's being blackballed, but it's going to be no team's going to want to deal with the baggage he brings. By the trade deadline, Durant might be, I don't know, picketing outside wanting to get traded for all we know.
Again.
Again. Although they're working together going forward, whatever that means.
Do you think they're all going to like couples counseling?
I don't think I doubt they could pay Kyrie enough to go to couples counseling.
I think like Steve Nash, Kyrie, Kevin Durant, and like Ben Simmons all have to like sit in a room and they have like someone mediate. Like, what's the problems? What can we do to like be better as a team?
Well, it'll probably be like that if they lose early on. If they're winning, and then everybody will be like, "Oh, look at them! They're all happy. It's all sunshine and rainbows over there." But then they'll go through like a little...
He's like, "I actually didn't want to be traded. I love it here."
Yeah, Kyrie will be like, "Oh yeah, it's all good.
I'll play 70 games this season, actually."
Yeah, but then they'll lose a couple of games in a week, and it'll turn into, "Oh, my back hurts. oh, my ankle and stuff
That's
like
the
that.
biggest
Oh,
issue
man.
with the Nets when it comes to like ranking them, like for like preseason rankings, and then like who we like if we had to make like a standings today, where would we put the Nets? It's hard because we don't know what version of the Nets are we going to get. Because if we're going to get a Nets team where everyone's on page, playing a good amount of games, I get that everyone's not going to play all 82 or 72, but like just a decent amount, and like. Yeah, or if we're going to get that, yeah, you want to put the Nets as one of the top seeds in like the Eastern Conference. But if you're not going to get that, like, man, you want to kind of put them a little lower, 5 or 6. So it's really hard making out this playoffs.
Yeah,
But
like
also
Rob.
one note.
Mhm.
Oh, I was going to say one note before we move on to the NBA. My breakout my breakout of the year candidates are Keldon Johnson Spurs and Cade Cunningham Pistons. There we go.
Ooh, Cade Cunningham. Oh wow. Oh yeah. I forgot about him. Yeah, I
Detroit-
was gonna say, yeah.
Detroit's
There's like one point with the Nets, like when I saw like Ben Simmons play like in the preseason, I was like, wow, he's playing right now. Like, I mean, I know he wants to get the reps in preseason, play, but I was pretty surprised to see him on the court because, like, what I'm saying?
I saw like a little highlight of him getting like a
I mean,
steal and taking
he
it
was
to a
going off
fast break
little
for a
bit,
dunk.
yeah.
I saw that and I was like, oh man, I didn't know he was playing preseason. I thought he was still
Going
out.
out. Yeah, right.
Yeah. Well,
But,
I think
yeah.
with Ben Simmons is more of a thing where I think he's ready to show that, because I'm sure he's hearing from everybody on the outside like, oh, Ben Simmons is soft, he's whatever, and I
Well,
think he wants to
especially
prove
after-
he's
yeah.
not.
Yeah.
But once the regular season starts, that's going to be completely different because
Right.
now the
Games
games actually
count.
matter, wins
Yep.
and losses. So, hold
And
on
you
a
gotta
second.
feel bad for him because, like, if he had a legitimate back injury, all he's gonna
That's
just
right.
hear now is just like
That's
anytime he goes anywhere, it's just like anytime he wants to sit out a game where he has an injury, it's just like, oh, he's milking it. He's a baby. It's like poor
Right.
Ben Simmons. Like if he was like legitimate, like man, that has to suck for everyone just calling you weak and stuff like that for like an injury. But like if he was milking it a little bit,
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I think internally, Brooklyn. I mean, Steve Nash, Kevin Durant, Kyrie, everyone on that team, him too, because like just believing in him. Like all it's gonna take time for him to get back in the system. But it's all about I think they said that Cam Thomas, Kyrie, Steve Nash, they all have been talking to him and son. So make him comfortable. Like even Durant said it's all about being aggressive, and like he said, who gives a crap if he misses shots, as long as he's being incorporated to the offense on a regular basis, he's gonna get his feet under himself. So
I'll give it up to the Nets. They did a really good job. Like outside, like after last season, like there was a lot of like controversy around them. They did a really good job of like making Ben Simmons like not an outsider, like making him feel involved. Like we've been talking to him, we've been trying to work with him. Like you hear a lot of reports of teammates like giving him advice, coaches giving him advice, people talking good on him. Like he's getting there, and that's good. I'm glad to see because in different situations, sometimes like the other star, like when they're not doing too good, sometimes the other star talks crap on him. The coaches talk crap. Like other players say something. So it's good that he's kind of has like a little supportive net around him in the Nets.
Right.
Yeah, that's going to be key for him to come back to at least the player that he was early on in Philly. We know that Philly turned on him, which kind of started this whole process. But yeah, so got some NBA talk out of the way. I think we can go to NFL because that's the main thing right now. And
Money.
Yeah. So I guess we just had week 5, just ended and all that. Quickly, what were some takeaways from the weekend that you had? I mean, we had a lot. We had another London game. We had a couple of quarterbacks that made their first start. Kenny Pickett, Zappy, and guys like that. We had some breakout performances from. Since it's like kind of week 6, but Devontae Adams last night.
Yep.
That's a whole nother story for another podcast. Like that's just crazy, man. Like
yeah, we can probably get into that a little bit later. But
because literally, I was watching that game. It was on and off, and I fell asleep a little bit, and then I woke up and I think the Chiefs went for the 2-point conversion where they failed, and then that's when the Raiders got the ball back, and they were marching on the field. And then it was 40-something seconds left, and they could kick the field goal and win the game. And then all of a sudden, Devontae ran into a receiver, and they had to turn the ball over. So and then
that was a
Devontae
tough way to
Adams.
lose it because he was wide open.
Yeah,
Actually, he and Renfro were pretty much wide open, but they ended up running almost like a crossing pattern, and they ran into each other. So neither one of them was available to make the catch. I mean, that's a tough way to lose, but. So I guess we'll start. We can start with Dylan. Week 5, some games that maybe caught your eye, performances, anything like that.
Well, for the one game that really caught my eye is like, man, Buffalo just took Pittsburgh and just beat the crap out of them. Poor Kenny Pickett. Like I said this on the Sunday podcast. I said this. It's like, man, if you're Kenny Pickett, like if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, this is like the number one game you don't want him to start. Like throw Mitch in there for another game. Like, gosh, you don't want him playing against the Bills. And he didn't do, I wouldn't say bad per se. Like he just had an okay game. But like, man, that Buffalo offense is something crazy. Like Gabe Davis, gosh, had a crazy game. What was it like? He ended up with like two or three receptions for 160 plus yards and 2 touchdowns. Like there's a lot of performances like that this week. Like a lot of just 2-3 reception, tons of yards, multiple touchdown games. Like De'Ami Brown for the Commanders had 2 receptions, 105 yards, 2 touchdowns. Devontae Adams ended up only having like 3 receptions last night, 125 yards, 2 touchdowns. Like it was a crazy week this week. A lot of big performances. You had Breece Hall for the Jets. Jets put a massive beat down on the Dolphins. Breece Hall ended up having 18 total carries for 197 total yards, a touchdown. Austin Eckler had a great game, 16 attempts, 200 total yards, 2 touchdowns. Like it was just an overall like great week. A lot of established stars like broke out this week. Not broke out, but like showed us why they were stars. Derrick Henry had a good game. Justin Jefferson had a good game. Yeah, it was good. I mean, Travis Kelce ended up having those 4 touchdowns yesterday as well, too. So, I mean, like, we had a lot of great performances. Man, yeah, it was an exciting week. I mean,
yeah, everybody's going off except for Allen Robinson, who's still
he's just running routes.
Can't put up numbers, Allen Robinson.
They're paying that man tons of money just for him to run.
Right. That's crazy. Jordan,
I'm just freaking Cleveland's had a freaking home run, man. 1-0. But the game that surprised me was the Jets and Miami game because Miami was coming in red hot. They upset us. And the whole story with Tua. Now Bridgewater got hurt, was in protocol. Then they had a quarterback of the name of
Skylar Thompson.
Skylar Thompson. I don't know who the hell he is.
Rookie out of K-State.
K-State.
I'm about to say, K-State.
Yeah.
I think he was a 6th rounder.
Yeah, he had like 166 yards, 19 for 33 from the for completion. Was sacked two out of 8 times. Had a poor QB rating, but I mean they pulled off. But that game, the Jets put it on them. I mean the Jets on the Jets side. Zach threw for 210 yards, had 0 interceptions, 0 touchdowns. The scores came from the running backs because Michael Carter.
Yeah, they went crazy. 5 total touchdowns.
They went
5
off.
Total touchdowns.
So that game kind of like in a blowout. Like obviously Bridgewater went down. Same way Tua went down with a concussion protocol or concussion. Then they had like the 3rd string in. But the way the Jets have been kind of like they win some, they lose some. They win some, they lose some. And I thought they were going to go blown out by Miami. But, yeah, I mean, that game was crazy. That was kind of a shocker.
I mean, I'll give the Jets credit. The Jets have been, like, accumulating a lot of talent because they've had a lot of high draft picks. And Saleh is, what's like his 2nd or 3rd year coach in there. He's had to, like, rebuild a lot of losing seasons, changed culture there. He has them playing really tough. The biggest question for them will always be Zach Wilson. As long as he doesn't turn the ball over, 4 or 5 times, which we saw sometimes during his rookie season, they have pieces in place to legitimately win games there. Breece Hall, like we just talked about, like he's a dynamic running back. And I think they probably will start feeding him the ball a little bit more. But even Carter as a secondary back is a great duo there. Defensively,
it's a young great duo.
Yeah, defensively, they're actually not that bad defensively. So
Sauce Gardner got his first pick this week.
Gardner, yeah.
So the Jets are a team that if they continue on this trajectory, season or 2 down the line, I mean, they could be like a 9-10 win type of team of course, that means they have to, continue, good draft picks and all that kind of stuff. But I don't think they're that far off for as bad as the Jets have been over the past few years. So that doesn't surprise me. But I guess one last thing, and I'll let you go, Dylan. The Bridgewater thing too. Bridgewater's also had a few scary concussions throughout his career as well. So I think they need to be cautious with him because we've seen him, be put to sleep a couple of times in Minnesota, Denver. It's like everywhere he's gone, he's taken one of those hits where it's like a little bit scary. So yeah, be as careful with him as they need to.
Yeah, one thing from that Jets-Dolphins game, I will say this was a close game until the fourth quarter happened. Like, literally, the game was 19-17 entering the third. And then what started everything is that the Dolphins missed a field goal. Like, if they made that field goal, this could have been a different game.
Mm-hmm.
Their last 4 drives ended up in a missed field goal, a fumble, a turnover on downs, which was literally 4 plays for 5 yards, and another set of turnovers on downs. I mean, I'll go more on the Dolphins because they're one of my picks this week. But this is just a Dolphins team that Skylar Thompson was doing fine. And then just that fourth quarter hit and it just struggled. They struggled to do anything on offense. Raheem Mostert had a good game, though. 8 carries for 113 yards and a touchdown. Looking like he's about to be that lead back in Miami over Chase Edmonds for sure.
Mm-hmm. What I think about that Sunday night game, man. Ravens Tucker with the game-winning field goal. That game was up and man, that game was giving me heart palpitations in that game, man. Like Lamar had 2 perfect passes that not perfect, but like passes that were off target, like that were wide open passes. One to Duvernay and one to Robinson.
Yeah, the Duvernay one, I'll give him a pass on that one because that's 2 defenders right there trying to fit over the top.
Yeah,
the one to Robinson.
It was
you have to hit that one.
Yeah, you have to hit that one.
Robinson was wide open by like 15 yards. All you really had to do was just float it up there. He'd have been fine. But Lamar tried to put too much speed on that one.
Right. I think the Ravens listened to us, me and you, Kyle, because we talked about how actually they didn't because they went on. John Harbaugh didn't want to go for it on 4th and 1. Lamar was like, no. I got you, Harb. I got you, Harbs. And they failed it. But they did learn their lesson when they're on the goal line. They did kick the field goal, and they learned their lesson of taking the point instead of trying. Now that field goal by McPherson, man, that was from the 30-yard line. They kind of went. It was up the right post, and I kind of went over the. I thought he missed a field goal, but I guess by NFL rules it was a field goal.
Yep. Since the ball was literally leaning towards in, that's what basically made it count.
Right. But I mean, Burrows. I mean, that O-line is way, way different than what it was last year. I mean, I know Higgins was trying to come into the game. I know he was out. Mixon. They had a poor first half. The Bengals kind of running the ball because the Ravens were on them, but. I think we played it smart with not giving them time to come back and ran the clock down and kick the field goal. And when you have the best kicker in the league right now, why not take that shot? So, I mean, that was an up and down game. It was crazy because I know Lamar had that winning drive to set up the winning field goal for Tucker. Because all you need to do is get to 60 plus yards. For his range to kick a field goal. So, but yeah, I mean, that's a game we needed. And we're now 3-2 in the division. We have the sole possession of the first lead. So, I mean, we just have to keep winning. But, I mean, what do y'all think about that game, for Sunday night?
No, I thought it was a good Sunday night game, I feel like the NFL can't really go wrong putting AFC North, rivals on a primetime game because usually that's the kind of game you get. Both teams understand each other. The games are usually pretty low scoring and are always close. I have no problem with it. It was a good win. It was a win where, Lamar showed some things. Like I said, the Mr. Robinson is probably killing him because that's probably the easiest touchdown pass he probably would have had. Even for Cincinnati, I liked what I saw from Mixon in the second half. because it seemed like he's starting to finally, the offensive line that's been like rebuilt or whatever, seems like they're starting to finally create lanes for him to make positive yardage. And if Mixon can get going, that's going to help Burrow out so much.
Yeah.
So I think it's a game that we'll probably be looking at down the line and see, all right, maybe Cincinnati turned the corner with their running game there.
Right.
And for Baltimore, it'll be, they won a tough game against a tough opponent. Maybe that's a game that's the difference between them being a wild card team and a division winner.
Right. And then I don't know what kind of play that was against or Burrows when he had that tried to do that Philly special. And then Peters blew it up. But I don't know what kind of play that was. I was like at like the
I feel like every team has that play ever since Philly.
I mean, Burrows was open in the touchdown. He was open in the end zone a little bit, but I think it was a Philly fluff or not Philly fluff, a Philly special.
Yeah,
that's a kick that we get for Philly fluff here in Jersey. But Philly special, I think Jamar Chase threw the ball, and then Peters, or was it? I think it was
Boyd. Boyd had it.
Boyd had it.
And Boyd just kind of held it. I don't think Boyd was too confident in not throwing it to Burrow. So once he looked over there and wasn't sure about that one, he kind of, froze up on that play.
Right.
But yeah, every team, every college team, they have that play now. So it's just whether or not you trust your quarterback to run an actual pattern.
It's in every team's playbook. It's just a matter of like when do we want to use it really?
Yeah.
It's like we're going to use it maybe once, twice a season, but just when.
Yeah.
All right.
I think it was a good game as well. Yeah, I think it was a good game. It was something I watched off and on, making dinner and stuff like that, just something in the background. But it was a good game from what I saw. I ended up watching the whole fourth quarter, saw that Justin Tucker kick. All I can say, Justin Tucker's probably the greatest kicker NFL.
Yeah,
I mean, I wouldn't say history, but like, man, you have a record-breaking game winner. It's kind of hard not to say that. I mean, consistent kicker. One takeaway I'll say is like the Ravens did do good to like secure the victory. The Bengals defense looked really good in containing Lamar. Like that was a little bit of something that I had struggles with was the Bengals defense, and they showed they did really well that game. Yeah, I think I don't think any team really loses stock with a game like this outside of like, man, you probably could have scored more with these offenses. But with that being said, like, yeah, this is what you're going to get out of both these teams every week. So I don't think any team really loses stock. I mean, the only thing that really happened here is Ravens are now first place, in my opinion. I feel like you said, both teams are going to use this as a game that will probably be a point where like we could be like, oh, both these teams turn the corner. Where I think this game could probably be a good one.
Yeah, and then I think we played in the last game of the season, the frost schedule at their house, so it's gonna be. But I knew like that last like 5 or 6 minutes of the game, like Lamar just when he had that last drive. I mean Lamar was smart. Like he didn't pass it, he ran it down their throats against the on their D line. Got the first down. I think they had all 3 timeouts, so the clock was their friend. On that one, the timeouts. They use the sideline. They use the no huddle. When Lamar, I think Lamar did the smart thing of just running the ball, running the clock down. And like I said, like all he needed was to get to like the 60 yard, maybe inside the 50 yard to get a touchdown or to get a field goal. So, we could have got the touchdown, but it was smart to get the field goal. It just ended just like the Bills did with us last game. So. Just don't give them a chance. So, like you said, Kyle and Dylan, like this could be a game where, okay, at the end of the season, this could decide, okay, are Ravens the wild card, or Ravens the division winner, or Bengals the wild card, or what I'm saying? So, but right now, I think they're up. So that can be the deciding factor later on in the season. So, and I don't see the Steelers. They're 1-4. Browns are they're 2-2, 2-3, I think so. Yeah, it's kind of the Bengals and Ravens right there. So, and so now we have the game up. So, now we're
the Browns just need to tread water until Deshaun Watson's ready to play. And
they traded for Deion Jones this week, which was a little bit big in my opinion.
I think you posted that from the Falcons, right?
Yeah, I was a little surprised. He's had a little bit of a down year, but that's still like Deion Jones. Like he's been a Pro Bowler inside linebacker for a little bit now. So like, man, I feel like this team. with all credit to the Browns, they played the Chargers fairly close. Like a team that I guess I wouldn't say they're the Chargers of what we thought they were probably going to be this year as of now, but like still, it's a pretty good Chargers team.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if the Browns can hang around 500 or so, I think they'll be in a great position because, you know, maybe they're not for the division or anything, but as a wild card team, I don't think the Browns aren't that far off because, you know, they can ride Chubb and Hunt offensively. You know, you had Jacoby Brissett make a couple of plays here or there a game. Defensively, they're pretty good. Their secondary is really good. Yeah, I think the Browns can stay in the race, and that was something I
mean,
was interested in before the season started because I know a lot of people were down on Brissett, but he's serviceable enough to get you there.
He practically played a really good game. He had one late interception that kind of messed with him a little bit. And then this is a game they should have won if their kicker could have made a game-winning field goal. Like if Cade York would have done something like he did in the first week and did it this week, I mean, he's been someone that's kind of been in development for the Browns. Like their rookie kicker who started off really good is now kind of on a really cold streak. Like this is a game that should have been won if they had Justin Tucker at kicker.
Yeah, my Patriots have the Browns this weekend, so
that's gonna be a good game. Speak about your Patriots, man. Get your time to shine real quick.
Yeah, they smashed the Lions.
Zappe, my guys, Bailey Zappe. No, but Ramondre Stevenson had an absolutely great game.
My OU boy right there.
Yeah, and this was the reason why Belichick went and got him when a lot of people were like, "Oh, that might be a little high to take Stevenson." Stevenson is really talented. It's all about, you know, getting him the touches and just give him a little opening and he'll fly right through it. Also, it was great seeing Jacoby Myers get a touchdown because, you know, they had that stat last year where it took him. Yeah, he had that crazy long streak of not having a touchdown. And then he gets one right off the bat because he missed a couple of games early on in the season. But, you know, he looked good. I mean, Aguilar had that interception that was all his fault, and he'll do that once a game.
That's Nelson Aguilar
will drop a pass where it's just like, just come on, you can hold on to that one. That's an easy one. But somehow he found a way to fumble it up, turn into an interception. The offensive line, which I know a lot of people were kind of questioning coming in, the offensive line has looked really good this season. Cole Strange, people are like, oh, Patriots were stupid to draft a guard in the first round out of Chattanooga. Like, he has fit into that line. He's got like a mean streak in him, which I love with my offensive linemen. That's what you need. Defensively, they fly around the ball. The Patriots defense has more speed on it than I can remember from the past season, and I love seeing it. Yeah, Duggar, Peppers, Phillips, Judon. If Judon can keep this up, because he started this way last season, but then got hurt and was never the same. If he can keep it up and constantly put pressure on opposing quarterbacks, I think the Patriots will be fine. I'm not ready to say Zappe versus Mac Jones is like a legit thing.
1-1, baby.
Huh?
A 1-1, baby. Yankees tied it up. I'm sorry. I'm gonna keep on updating y'all.
No, I got you.
I'm watching my basement right here, so I think Donaldson got the home run.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I'm not ready to say like there's a quarterback controversy with Zappe and Mac Jones or anything like that. Still Mac Jones' team to me, but I liked what I've seen from Zappe. The whole Matt Patricia, thing about, he doesn't know how to call an offense. I feel like so far this season, the offense has been fine to me in terms of game plan, game in and out, and play calling. Yeah, he's not, the best offensive coordinator in the league, but I wouldn't say he's been a problem so far. So I'm excited to see where the Patriots go from here because they're 2-3. I think they're like third in the AFC East, I think. Actually, they're last. But, the Jets and Dolphins are right there at 3-2. Buffalo's 4-1. I expected Buffalo to win the division anyway, but I'm more optimistic after the Lions game and even the Ravens game and what I've seen with New England than probably going into the season. I will say that. But I actually do have a question for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
I think a couple of teams that came in with a lot of hype that there's kind of some questions about are the Packers and the Rams. Who out of those two, I guess, do you feel more confident in turning their season around or being maybe a contender by the end of the season?
Okay. I'm going to say this. I think the Packers are the better team than the Rams, but I think the Rams are going to turn around their conference just because of what division they play in.
Okay.
I feel like the NFC West right now isn't really top heavy. It isn't really strong. The Cardinals are struggling. The 49ers had a good game, but they played the Panthers. Like before that, they were 2-2. The Rams are struggling. The Seahawks are struggling. Like all this is like kind of eh. And like if the Rams can get onto a stride and like get going, like I feel like Green Bay is going to have a tougher time trying to play like a Pack or a Vikings again, or trying to play another even Lions. I mean, if that Patriots game was kind of a little weird, especially like since the Lions were going crazy offensively, and then the Patriots just shut them out, which was crazy. Big props to that Patriots defense. But yeah, I feel like the Rams feel like they have a lot more pressure on them. I feel like Aaron Rodgers, man, I don't know. This offense is struggling. I mean, they're not really using their running backs like they should. I mean, your two best offensive playmakers are your two running backs, and you're running less times than you are passing. Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me. I'm not sure where the Packers are heading. I just feel like maybe the Rams just might need another piece, or just not another piece, but like they just need someone to kind of step up. I mean, they're struggling really when it comes to that slot receiver. They're throwing around Tutu Atwell. They're throwing around Ben Skoranek. Nothing's really happening there. It seems like they're really missing Odell Beckham on this team. Like since he got injured in that Super Bowl, their offense has kind of just plummeted a little bit. Stafford doesn't look too good. They need some offensive line help. I feel like this is a team that someone's going to either get cut, like an offensive line, and something's going to happen. The Rams are going to pick up a guy. And I feel like they'll just have an easier conference schedule which is weird saying that because the Bears are in this conference, but the Bears are 2 wins. I mean, Lions have 1 win. So it's tough. I think I want to say the Packers, but like they just haven't shown me anything that makes me trust them. And then on the Rams side, they have Cooper Kupp, Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey. Like, they got some big names. And Matthew Stafford's a good quarterback if he can get healthy and just be a little more confident in his other weapons, not named Cooper Kupp and Tyler Higbee.
Okay.
Yeah, I can definitely. I mean, can I say? I can say both teams. I can see making strides in later season because they could have. I mean, they should have won that game if they would have ran the football. Aaron Rodgers, I think, threw it on fourth down and
they had 2 passes blocked by defensive linemen
exactly.
To end the game.
Yeah, because I will say Aaron because in the Packers because Aaron. Obviously, Stafford has the ring, the Super Bowl ring, and then Aaron, he has a Super Bowl ring.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah,
he has one.
Yeah, he has one. So I feel like just like Dylan said, I see like this in like when what Kyle says, like if Stafford can realize that he is the number 1 receiver on the team in Allen Robinson, I mean, obviously he needs to find him more. But I mean, I can see both teams turn around. I know in the NFC North, I think the Vikings are 4-1, the Packers are 3-2, and Chicago they're like 1-3, 1-4. But I mean, the same can go for their division in the NFC. I think the NFC South,
the West.
Oh,
so right now the
Yes.
Niners lead it at 3-2, and then everybody else is 2-3.
2-3. I mean, I feel like they can get together too. I mean, because they have Aaron Donald and that defense and Ramsey, even though he's getting blown up by receivers like Deebo Samuel, but they have Akers and stuff. So I feel like both teams can kind of turn it around a little late in the season. But I mean, that's a game they should have won against the Giants. Now Giants are 4-1. I mean, I can say both teams are both quarterbacks, and both teams kind of make a turnaround here.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'd probably go. Yeah, I mean, I'd probably go with the Rams only because I feel like Rodgers' ego is probably what's getting in the way because
they have a tough schedule like the Packers. I mean, they have they have the Jets. I mean, that should be a W. Packers, Commanders, Packers, Bills.
I wouldn't sleep on that Jets game.
Yeah. I mean, this is like next. I think it's next week. Or not next week. It's going down the line. I mean, they got the Lions, Cowboys, Titans, Eagles. I mean, they got a tough schedule coming out. I mean, Miami, Vikings, and then back to Detroit. last game of the season. So, I mean, they're gonna have a rough schedule coming up. Like,
But
games.
like I said, with Rodgers' ego, I mean, as Dylan put it, AJ Dillon and more so Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones is their most dynamic offensive weapon because he brings speed, power. You could even use him in the passing game. But it just seems like at key moments, Rodgers will probably check out of whatever call LaFleur puts in to a pass. And I think it's going to be their downfall a lot of the season. It's kind of a lot of the reason why, he and Devontae Adams weren't more successful in the playoffs because it came down to big games. Everybody knew Rodgers was going to look to Adams. He wasn't going to look anywhere else. And that's where they kind of fell apart. But I guess one more question for you before we go to picks. Who's been your biggest surprise team-wise in the NFL so far?
Shoot.
Looking at records right now. Let me. I mean,
Most
I don't want to say
surprising.
the Eagles because I'm not going to say the Eagles because that's like going to be everyone's probably pick. That's the most generic pick. This is tough. I mean, I think, man, I'd say Jacksonville, but I mean, they lost to the Texans this week, so that's kind of out of the book.
They
I
lost
guess
10 in a row to the Texans, which is wild.
Yeah, they lost 16-3 to the Texans, which is wild. David Mills threw no touchdowns.
It's one of those stats you just can't figure out in the NFL.
I would say the Jets. I'd say the Jets. I mean, like you said earlier, they kind of like built themselves with a lot of like young talent. But with that being said, it's still young talent. Zach Wilson hasn't been a great quarterback before the season. I mean, like you're talking about like, oh, he needs to have a good year or this team could potentially move on from someone else. So I mean, like, even though that the Dolphins didn't really have like their starting quarterback or anything like that out there, that rushing game was crazy. Braxton Berrios had one rush, 15-yard touchdown. Michael Carter had 2 touchdowns. Breece Hall was getting tons of yards. Zach Wilson even had a scrambling touchdown. So, I mean, I feel like this Jets team is like going to be scary good. Like you said earlier, like they could just be a couple pieces away, a little more progression away, and this could be a team that could be scary. Good enough to beat the Bills? Probably not. Good enough to make a wild card team? Probably. Like I could see them making a wild card spot like in a year or two or so, as long as Zach Wilson can keep, being a good quarterback, being smart. It all depends really on him since he's the leader. But as of now, I would say everyone's record's kind of where I would think it would be. I mean, of course, the Eagles being 5-0 is a little surprising. The Cooper Rush Cowboys being 4-1 is a little surprising. The no offense Giants, not named Saquon Barkley, being 4-1 is a little surprising. So, I mean, all those teams are good, but I would say the Jets have like showed me a lot. Like I like what I've seen from Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, Michael Carter. They're young defensive players. So I'd say the Jets right now.
All right. Jordan, who you got?
I feel like my most surprising team is probably the Giants because I mean I had them 0-4. I mean, or I had not winning any, or not what? Okay, a couple games winning, but I didn't see them winning games off the bat. You know what I'm saying? Because everyone is talking about Daniel Jones and how he's not consistent, and how the teams they play, they're kind of subpar. They beat the Titans, they barely beat the Titans. They faced the look at the schedule. I know they faced the Chicago Bears. They beat them, but they could have lost that game. The other thing was like 12-20, I think, the final score. So they beat them by like 8 points. I'm pretty sure even diehard Giants fans are kind of surprised that they're kind of like 4-1. They're like, oh wow,
Oh, yeah, they are.
4-1. Wow, we can possibly get a playoff spot. I mean, possibly.
I don't think they would be surprised if like they had Kadarius Toney playing, Wan'Dale Robinson, Sterling Shepard, Kenny Galladay was having a better year. But like none of those guys they're either out or not playing or just playing bad. And it's just literally like David Sills. Here you go.
Yeah. I mean, the only team in that division that's doing better is the Washington Commanders, which is they're 1-4. I mean, Philly is 5-0. Dallas is 4-1. Giants are 4-1. So that division's kind of tight between the top 3 teams in that division.
Remember when 6-10 was going to win that division?
Yeah.
I guess for me, my biggest surprise, probably in a bad way, is probably the Cardinals. I expected a lot more out of the Cardinals, but then this offseason, all the talk about, Kyler Murray and that clause in his contract about watching tape and then taking it out, a lot of distractions coming in, and it just seems like whenever they play, you'll see like little glimpses of them where you see the good team that they could be, but then it's always like something that happens and they just fall a little short. I
With
think,
Kingsbury.
yeah, I think the Murray Kingsbury experiment, which I understand why the Cardinals pair them together, they have previous success in college or whatever.
Yeah, it's like
It just hasn't
you
carried
get the
over.
college style coach and you're going to give him like one of the perfect college style quarterbacks, and it's just like this is going to work in the NFL, and it's just not.
Right. So I think clearly after the season, one of those pieces will probably have to go. I'm assuming they'll probably side with Kyler
Yeah.
Murray and let go
Yeah,
of
they'll keep
Kingsbury.
Kyler. They just gave him that much money. They
Right.
can't afford to trade him.
And I think we'll look back on this experiment as, what went wrong, why didn't it work, and what could have been. So that's why I go with the Cardinals as my surprise. But yeah, so as we always do, gotta get to our picks. That's how we end our show. So looking at week 6, first game we have to
Thursday
start
night.
with this Thursday night. Bears Commanders.
Another poor ass game.
Yeah. Literally, like I have all my stuff with like little quotations with a funny quote, and it says this Amazon Prime deal is not working out. Like you got to think about it. Last week you had the Colts and the Broncos that ended up into a 12-9 game, and now your next week's primetime game after that is like Commanders, who have they're kind of fun to watch. I would say Brian Robinson being back in the Bears, now getting to be a little bit better, but it's just like, man, it's like you looked at the whole list of NFL games and you go, we want that one on Thursday.
Like, I mean, the line is even. I mean, so it can go either way. I see this game being a low-scoring game.
The line's even now. I checked earlier. It's -1
ESPN
Bears.
says it's even.
Yeah, it's even right now.
Oh man, it's gonna be another game where I'm probably gonna fall asleep. But I mean, in that game, I kind of see the Commanders winning by like a little bit because they got wins. I mean, they had a good game last week against they played the Titans. I mean, 17-21. I mean, Carson Wentz threw for let me see the box score. Carson Wentz threw for 359 yards. Had 102 passing rating for QB. I mean, they were in the game. And I think a reporter asked Ron Rivera, like, "Oh, like, do you do the season or whatever?" He was like, "Oh, I mean, we're in week 5, week 6. I mean, the season's still early." So this is a game where they can possibly win. But it's gonna be one of those slow games. I think it's gonna come down to the defense. Jamar Chase? Chase? Is he playing or is he hurt still? The linebacker.
Chase Young.
Chase Young, is he hurt or is he playing?
Yeah, I think he's. I'm not sure. I haven't heard any injury report. I haven't heard he's going to be active yet, so I'm assuming he's still out.
Yeah. So I mean, it's going to be one of those boring games, low-scoring games, but I feel like the Commanders are going to pull it out just because Wentz had a good week last week. Not saying I don't trust Justin Fields. I just don't, believe in their offense right now because I mean, obviously
you have no reason to believe in their offense.
Exactly. So I kind of have Commanders beating the Bears on Sunday night, start out the week 6.
All right, Dylan, who you got?
So this game, I'm actually going a little bit opposite. I'm picking the Bears on this one. I think Chicago played a harder game on the road last week against the Vikings. We're down 21-3 at one point. They ended up taking the lead, making it 22-21. Both teams had prime opportunities to win last week and had final drives to win last week. I mean, Carson Wentz threw that pick to David Long in the end zone, and then Cameron Dantzler just made an absolute amazing rip of a play off of Smith Marset. So, I mean, both these teams were really close to winning these games. I mean, from the Bears' perspective, they had a chance to become second in the division if they won that game. Mm-hmm. I think the Bears look more balanced than what Washington looks right now. I don't think Washington's going to be able to rely on De'Ami Brown to have 2 receptions, 105 yards, and 2 touchdowns every game. I just don't think that's something that's going to happen. David Montgomery came back from injury, didn't really do much on the rushing end, ended up having a touchdown. Justin Fields is passing a little bit more, 208 yards passing, and he had a touchdown. It seems like him and Darnell Mooney are connecting a little bit together. My biggest key for the Bears to win this game is they're going to need this offensive line to hold up. They only let up 2 sacks last week, but they're going up against Commanders defense who got 5 sacks last week. I'm just going to go the Bears on this one. That game last week just didn't make me think I could see anything from the Commanders to win it. And the Bears at least almost came back and won their game the way that they did. I'm just going to have to go with the Bears on this one. It's hard to pick for Wentz.
All right. And then I'm going to break the tie, and I'm actually going with the Bears.
Ooh.
I mean, yes, the Bears offensively, they're not that great. But like Dylan said, I do like that we're starting to see a connection between Fields and Mooney. And also, Fields still, and Fields still can make plays with his legs. And we know Washington likes to get a good pass rush. If they are undisciplined at any moment, Fields can burn them with his legs. So I think the Bears will make more plays in this game. So I'll take the Bears as well. So the next game would be Sunday night. Bills Chiefs. It's probably game of the week.
Definitely game of the week.
Yeah. So when with Jordan first? I'll go Dylan on this one. Who you got?
That's the Sunday night game?
Oh no, that's not.
No,
that's
Cowboys Eagles.
Cowboys
Eagles.
Man, I had like this whole spiel for the Cowboys and Eagles, and I was like, did I just pick the wrong game?
No. You got it. Yeah. So Cowboys Eagles. Who you got?
Okay. So I have basically when you think about it, man, this is not what we expected from the NFC East this year. Maybe from the Cowboys and the Eagles, but the 5-0 Eagles, the 4-1 Cowboys, especially the 4-1 Cowboys with Cooper Rush. My pick this week is going to be the Eagles. Now, this offense has been good. I mean, I've heard a lot of people say Cooper Rush is playing really well. He's playing consistent. He's playing smart. But this is an offense right now that's built around Cooper Rush and his capabilities as a quarterback. He doesn't have the same athletic skills as Dak Prescott. He's not going to be able to throw 60, 70-yard deep bombs to CeeDee Lamb, to Michael Gallup, or anything like that. This is a team that's working around Cooper Rush's availability to pass, and they're rushing the ball a lot more. Something they probably should have done sooner. I mean, when you have Tony Pollard and Ezekiel Elliott, 2 great running backs, that probably should be your focus, especially when your gunslinging quarterback is out. And that's what they've been doing. I'm picking the Eagles because I don't think it's possible for this Cowboys offense to have a shootout with the Eagles. That's what the Eagles are going to want to do. They're going to want to run the ball. They're going to want to score. They're going to want to try to run up that score as much as they can. And if it gets to a point where we're getting touchdowns, I don't believe Cooper Rush is going to be able to trade touchdowns with Jalen Hurts like that. Not unless they just have an absolutely amazing rushing game, and that's what happens to take them over, then that's fine. The Bears have had the Cowboys have had a good defense since they've started Rush. I mean, they've had a good defense before that, but they lost that first game. But the teams that they placed have been the Bengals, Giants, Commanders, and Rams. All of these teams have struggled at some point with their offense. They played the Bengals in week 2. They came off that Steelers loss. They didn't look too good. They played the Giants, who, fair enough to the Giants, they're 4-1, but they're doing that with Saquon Barkley, and that's it. It's pretty easy to just stop one of the weapons when there's nobody else for that team. They played the Commanders, again, 1-4. Carson Wentz looked pretty inconsistent. I've said it earlier, need some offensive weapons. And then they played the Rams, who is supposed to be a good team on offense, but Matthew Stafford hasn't found his rhythm. So I'm not saying that this Cowboys defense is bad or anything bad like that, but the teams they have faced, they have struggled throughout the season a little bit. It's not like they're facing this murderer's row. It's not like they beat the Bills, they beat the Chiefs, they beat these great offensive teams, because the teams that they faced, maybe the only great one as of now who's been playing better has been the Bengals. I mean, the Giants are playing good, but it's just the Saquon show. They're not passing touchdowns or anything like that. I'm just taking the Eagles on this one because I just don't feel like you can have a shootout against the Eagles, especially with this Cowboys offense. I feel like the Eagles are going to favor matchups with Darius Slay and CeeDee Lamb with Cooper Rush throwing to him. Bradley Berry versus Michael Gallup with Cooper Rush throwing to him. So I just feel like the Eagles win because they're more set up to actually win this game. They're more set up to have a shootout.
All right. Jordan, who you got? Oh, you're muted.
So I would say that coming into this game Sunday night, I feel like this is the Eagles' first real test of the team. Just because of the defense. They got Michael Parsons. Obviously he got hurt, but he came back in the game and still with an impact. You got Trayvon Diggs. Uh, so I want to say my penny for like the upset because I kind of had the Cowboys upsetting them because of this real because this is the first real test. And when it comes to the game, like in the trenches, those big linemen, not Lawrence Taylor, I mean Demarcus Lawrence,
Yeah.
you know, the big dogs. It comes down to the big guys, man, like protecting the quarterback. And I know I think Cooper Rush is starting. I think Dak is a couple weeks out from playing again. But Cooper Rush is on a hot streak. But even though I want to see Jalen Hurts win the game, just because it's Sunday night, I feel like this is their toughest opponent, defensive wise.
Mm-hmm.
So this could turn out to be if quarterbacks, Jalen Hurts and Cooper Rush kind of start off bad, defense might be the deciding factor in this game. And it's in a conference game. Cowboys are going to be hungry. They're going to want this win. I mean, it comes down to the big men in this game, like the big linemen. And I trust the Cowboys defense with like Trayvon Diggs and Michael Parsons on the other side. And who's the middle linebacker?
Vander Esch.
Yeah, him. I mean, even I want to see Hurst win. I feel like they're going to get upset this week. So.
All right, so I guess once again I got to break the tie.
Eagles.
I'm going the Eagles.
Damn.
I know the Cowboys. Yes, Michael Parsons is having a great season. DeMarcus Lawrence is tough on the line as well. Trayvon Diggs, you can throw on Trayvon Diggs. I mean, he's one of those corners that likes to take risks. So high risk, high reward there. But I just think the Eagles are set up in a way that even if Hurts were to struggle a little bit, Sanders is playing really well out of the backfield. Gainwell, good change of pace. And I feel like if the pressure's getting to Hurts too much, they could start with quick passing games with, Devontae Smith and guys like that. And then flip side, the Eagles, their secondary is really good. So I feel like Rush is going to have trouble finding CeeDee Lamb or Schultz. And if it comes down to it where, one team just has to make one play to win it, I would trust Hurts over Rush at this point. Not to say Cooper Rush hasn't been good, but like Dylan said, Mike McCarthy has basically, him and the coaching staff have tailored it to, take a lot of the pressure off of him. They ride Pollard and Elliott most of the time, and defenses start playing off of that, and then Cooper Rush, little quick pitch and catch type routes. So I'm just taking the Eagles because I think the Eagles are legit at 5-0, and I think also with it being in Philly, we'll get to see how Cooper Rush can play in that type of environment because we know Philly Sunday night is going to be rocking there.
Oh yeah,
and that's going to be tough for Cooper Rush. So I'm going with Philly.
Yeah. What? I didn't know it was in Philly. I thought it was in Dallas.
No, it's in Philly.
That might change my opinion because I mean, Hurts they feel that crowd. So I might go. I might say my lock and my upset for next segment. But all right, yeah. Then never mind. Since they're at home, then I give the edge to the Eagles, man. But it's gonna still be a slug out fest with like I'm still sticking with my take with the defense and stuff like that. It's gonna be a good game.
So you're going Philly?
So I'm going Philly because I thought it was in Dallas. I thought I get the home advantage in Dallas, but Eagles are a 5-point favorite. So on the money line. So since it's home, I mean, I'm gonna go Eagles.
All right,
and then upset my lock.
And then our final primetime game, those good old Broncos back on primetime against the Chargers. I guess we'll start with Jordan because we went Dylan last. So who you got?
I probably got the Chargers in that game. Just because of Wilson. Wilson is not. I don't know. Wilson hasn't really been on primetime. Hasn't really been that good. Who's home? Is it LA home?
Yeah,
or is
it's in LA.
Let me see the money line for
that. They have they have the Chargers as a 5-point favorite right now.
5-point favorite right now. Yeah. Chargers are 3-2, and the Broncos are 2-3. Yeah, I just trust. I mean, Herbert and them, and like they got they have Austin Eckler. They have I think they have Mike Williams. So I trust their offense, and they got Boza on the other side. So I mean, I feel like that. I feel
isn't Bosa hurt?
Yeah,
is he hurt?
Yeah.
Oh damn. I mean, still, I'm still picking the Chargers to win.
Okay.
It might not be a blowout, but I feel like it could be a blowout depending on how Wilson plays. But it's just I trust the coaching decisions and the coaching staff of the LA Chargers than Hackett and Russell. So
that's definitely a big part of it. So Dylan, who you got?
I'm not sure if I trust either coaching staff right now, at least decision-making time. But I'm going to keep this one shorter than most of the other ones because we've been on for a little bit and got a couple more left. Going with the Chargers on this one. They looked really good against the Browns last week. Really good on the offensive end. Austin Eckler, like I said, had 16 total carries for 173 yards and a touchdown, and then 4 receptions for 26 yards and a touchdown. That's something they needed. I said it last week that the Chargers have been struggling to get a consistent rushing game, and that's what they needed. 173 yards. I will take that any day of the week. So I'm glad that this is what they're going to get. Reason I'm not picking the Broncos, Russell Wilson had to get an injection in his shoulder. And then I was told this is something you don't normally get injections for. This is something you normally have to wait or get surgery for. And he just kind of did it to so he could play. He hasn't been good. And now he's doing something like that makes it a little more scarier. This offense has kind of been, I wouldn't say just completely bad. They played a decent game against the Raiders. They had a decent game against the Seahawks. So I wouldn't say it's been all bad, but it's been mostly bad. Hackett's been a horrible decision caller. They've literally had to hire a coach to help him out with that. I'm taking the Chargers because, man, I don't trust a quarterback who has got an injection on a bad offense right now. With a surgery with something that he's not supposed to normally get an injection for. So,
yeah. And I completely agree. I'm going Chargers as well. I mean, I've been touting the Broncos week in and week out, but this whole shoulder thing, I can't get behind that. And I'll probably be back on the Broncos, pick, a couple weeks down the line. But right now, it's not looking good. And even though the Chargers have had their struggles, but I'd take Herbert over Wilson right now. And now we're going to all be watching to see how does Russ look throwing the ball. Is going to be discomfort with every throw. Is going to stick to a short passing game. Their only hope is going to be defensively. If they can frustrate Herbert enough and maybe get a defensive score out of it, that might be the Broncos' best way to win. But yeah, I'm going Chargers. All right, so now it's upset and locks of the week. And kind of like Dylan said, we've been on for a while, so we'll try to go through these real quick.
Yeah, real quick.
So I guess let's start with you, Jordan.
Yeah.
Upset and your lock.
So I kind of had 2 locks, but I'm gonna go with my team, the Ravens. I feel like the Giants are their really first real competition. I mean, look what the Giants have played. They played the Titans, barely won against that game. They played the Bears. They lost to the Cowboys. They beat the Packers, which they should have lost that game because of Aaron Rodgers. I mean, they're going up against Aaron Rodgers. But this might be their first real challenge. I know they're 4-1, but Lamar Jackson is another animal when it comes to the quarterback position. Their defense and I know Marcus Williams is hurt. I know their wrist injuries are the big piece we're missing. We're going to be missing. Marcus Peters has stepped up against the Bengals. Marlon Humphrey's there. Jason Pierre-Paul is a good addition for us. Dobbins has been going off for these past couple games. And what I've seen is Lamar kind of incorporated Mark Andrews in the game because the Bengals more. So if Mark Andrews gets hot, I'm trying not to be biased here, but yeah, I'm going with that. But then also I had another lock. I had Niners against the Falcons, another lock too. But I'm going with my Ravens because actually I'll be at that game this Sunday. So I'll witness our win, hopefully. But also I'm scared of that turf too. That turf is terrible. I know we talk about that turf a lot, so I'm afraid. I know Lamar didn't get hurt against the Jets, but of that game. But like anything can happen. Anyone can get hurt on that field. And I think Darren Jones, wasn't he hurt going into the Packers game? Because I know.
Mhm.
So I mean, he could get hurt that game on Sunday. And Barkley, I mean, that's their offense. You know what I'm saying? So Galladay's kind of been iffy. You know what I'm saying, with the receiving corp. So yeah, I mean, that's definitely my lock because Lamar. I mean, this is the real test for defense and offense. And it might be the same story as when we play the Jets and we could blow them out. But I mean, they're a 4-1, the Giants. I'll give them the credit, but this is their first real like test on both sides of the ball. So and plus they got when it comes down to a field goal, Tucker's our guy. So I mean, I might not say it might not come down to that, but yeah, I mean, we have the pieces we need. You know what I'm saying? I think Gus Edwards coming back too, like one of the running backs coming back. Stanley played good on some selected stats against the Bengals. So yeah, I mean that's my lock, Ravens and Giants.
All right. Well, you're upset. You might as well give us that as well.
Oh, you're the upset. The upsets for week 6. I had the damn, it's a lot of games. I'm gonna go Jets Packers. Just my upset the Packers because I mean the Giants upset at the Packers. The Jets are looking good with Zach Wilson. I mean Gardner, had his first interception. Brees Hall's going off. But yeah, that's my upset. I think the money line for that game.
Packers are a touchdown favorite.
Yeah,
a touchdown favorite. So I kind of see the Jets, getting that W.
All right, Dylan, who you got?
My lock of the week. Is going to be the Rams at the Panthers. Panthers fired their head coach. I know we're going to touch on that, but might as well do it now. Panthers fired their head coach, Matt Rule. He's 11-37 for him. Baker Mayfield's going to be out this game. The Rams have struggled. We've mentioned it multiple times, and if they want to have a chance to kind of recalibrate, trying to get on the right pace, this is a perfect game to do it. If you need to test out your running backs more, I imagine this is a game that you should be able to win as long as they can play consistent and play right. One thing I want to see from the Rams this game, who's the starting running back? Because Darrell Henderson doubled in snaps but played 0 rushing. And then Cam Akers ran the ball for 13 times for 33 yards. So, I mean, I'm not sure if the Rams think they have Alvin Kamara 2.0. They don't. They need to figure out what they're going to do on the rushing attack, and I feel like this is a perfect game to do it. Take Rams, 10.5-point favorites. Feel like that's the perfect amount. So, yeah, I'm taking the Rams over the Panthers. And then my upset, I'm having the line upset me a bit. I have the Dolphins over the Vikings. Now, this is if Tua plays. I imagine I might change a little bit if Tua plays, especially if the line might change a little bit if Tua plays. I think it's -5. At least that's what it was when I saw earlier for the Vikings. Oh, it's -3 for the Vikings right now.
-3.
But like I said, I'm picking the Dolphins if Tua plays. Let me go. This is a Dolphins team who's murdered in the fourth quarter last week. It was all just the Jets in that fourth quarter. 135 yards rushing on 5 touchdowns last week by four different players. The Jets also threw 210 passing yards against a Dolphins team that didn't have any starting corners. Xavier Howard, Byron Jones didn't play last week. Like I said, this was a game that was really close until the fourth quarter, and the Jets took over. Teddy Bridgewater was knocked out of the game last week with a concussion after what was the second play. Rookie Skylar Thompson came in, played well. Like I said, those last 4 drives ended up really hurting the Dolphins a lot. Like I said, talking about the Bears, I feel like this Vikings team looked really strong, and then they kind of let the Bears come back in that game. And especially if you're having this Dolphins team who's going to look for more momentum when Tua's coming back, I feel like, man, that's really hard to stop. I don't think Cameron Dantzler is going to be able to keep up with Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill. I don't think really any of their cornerback work is going to be really doing it. And if Tua comes back, Tua's going to be looking to get kind of back on the same pace as what they were before he got injured, really. So I feel like I gotta take the Dolphins in this one. Vikings are 4-1. Could they win this game? Yeah, but it kind of worried me a little bit how many points they let up to the Bears because they were up by a decent amount. That has something to say. And if Tua's back, Tua's healthy, man, you can't be letting up those leads and those type of plays against the Dolphins because they're going to burn you for more for them.
Right.
So I'm going to go the Dolphins as my upset of the week.
All right. So for me, my lock, I'm going Bucks over the Steelers. I
Yeah.
mean,
Oh, yeah.
we've
Yeah,
seen
I
the
saw
Steelers.
that one.
That's
I saw that
easy.
one, and I was like, man, someone's either gonna pick, someone's picking the Bucks, someone's picking the Rams, and then there's another game. I think that 49ers game. I was like, someone's picking the
Yeah.
Niners.
But yeah, so I'm going the Bucks only because still early in the Kenny Pickett era for the Steelers. Not going to be expecting much out of Pittsburgh in this one. I think with Brady, we know first month or so he'll struggle, then it kind of turns it on, and I think the Bucks are ready to start dominating teams right now. So I think that's an easy one. My upset, I'm going Homer. I'm taking the Patriots over the Browns. I like what Zappy's been doing. I think Stevenson and Harris out of the backfield. It probably would come down to the game of running backs, whichever running
Well,
back
Harris
duo.
is out this week.
Oh, that's right. Yes. Yeah, because they're going to probably have to have maybe Kevin Harris or
Is Pierre
JJ
Strong back?
Hmm?
Or is Pierre Strong your guys' back, or is he out still?
I haven't seen him play, so I think he's still out. So that's what I'm saying. They'll probably either go. I think they say they'll have JJ Taylor or Kevin Harris. Probably Harris will probably come up, but Stevenson looks like he wants to be that number one back. So I'm expecting
Got
another
him on
good
fantasy.
yeah. I mean, defensively, Cleveland's going to pose more of a problem than the Lions will, but I think if Zappy, takes care of the ball, he's looked more comfortable in the pocket, so I'll go that route. And yeah, I hope they win that one, get back to 3-3, and then we can kind of wipe the slate clean. But those are the picks. I guess point with final thoughts. If any of you guys have anything, Jordan, you got anything?
Just keep on supporting the show. You know what I'm saying? Like, keep on. Like I think Dustin was, more active in the comments. Like we like that. Putting your input in there, and yeah, I mean, like I said every week, like we see in the Astros game, like that's what sports is about. Upsets. That's what makes us sit on the edge of our seats for these games. So that's the love for the sport. So thank God for the support for the Big Three podcast. Yeah, I mean, I'm excited for the NBA season to start. Like I always say every week. Next week it starts. The real grind. NFL, a lot of good games on the slate this week for NFL.
Mm-hmm.
I know NHL starting. I'm a big Capitals fan, so let's get that Stanley Cup again. Ovechkin.
I guess.
But yeah, I mean,
Go Krakens.
Yeah, I'm a Bruins fan, so.
But
Go Krakens.
keep on supporting the show. Keep on supporting this the Sports Empire Network. I mean, you got a lot of great shows, a lot of new great people coming into the show, and just keep on supporting, keep on showing that love.
All right.
Yeah, basically the same thing. Yeah, just keep on showing support. We're going to be here every week. Excited for the weeks that we have come ahead. Like we said, it's the big grind. We're going to get to the thick of college football. We're getting to the thick of all the main sports, really. Everything's starting back up. Yeah, keep on commenting. Like we love when people comment on the show. This is our longest podcast by far, and that's just because we had a little bit more like fan interaction, which is good. Like I said, keep commenting. We'll definitely make sure to get every comment. Like the interaction, just keep sharing. Like I'm excited, like getting ready to thick of sports. So I'm excited.
Yeah.
Got some big UFC events coming up too. So I'm really excited for that as well.
Yeah. And I mean, you guys put it perfectly. So Facebook and YouTube, we appreciated the interaction. Like Jordan said, plenty of other great shows on the network, plenty of great, personalities and all that. So check all that out. So Facebook, follow Sports Empire Networks, and for YouTube, subscribe to the channel. A lot of great stuff going on, and with that, we are out. So have a good one, everybody.
Have a good night, everybody.
All right.
Bye.